To vote for Kamala or Putin? Who do you choose?
Oh, definitely Putin.
I would actually vote for Putin if I had to, for the simple reason, if you understand Marxism and communism, you can work within it.
Kamala is for communism and taking our whole entire...
That's going to be a tough one. What's your definition of communism? I just want to know.
Isn't that a little bit blackpilling?
Adam,
What's up, Steven?
nothing much. How you doing?
Doing well. Flew in last night. Excited to be here.
Where'd you fly in from?
Chicago. Big
Cool.
Chicago. You know what?
Yeah?
I just learned that the ground zero for mass deportations are going to be in Chicago. So this week, I'm going to be on the ground with Tom Homan. I don't know if he's going to be there, but they're going to send like a few hundred ICE agents and start deporting people. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
Do you have any illegal immigrant friends we need to know about?
No, but the ones that voted for MAGA I already reported to ICE anyway. So it's fucking.
Jesus. How do you feel about that? Do you think people should be reporting illegal immigrant MAGA supporters?
Probably not. I mean,
Really?
no.
Probably not?
You were
What a
just saying
weak-
you feel cynical. Like so
That
you
was
think-
off camera.
Yeah.
Now you're bringing that up?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Why don't you bring up how you've been grifting the whole time and you
huge-
voted for Trump in
huge-
3 different elections.
Yeah.
It's not even allowed to.
Huge.
You were
grifter.
11 years old at the ballot box.
I voted for Trump 3 times in the past election because the liberals stole 2020. So I was like, fuck, I gotta.
Fucking based.
Yeah.
It can't be too big to rig if you've got... Make a clever rhyme.
Too big to rig if you got.
Yikes.
No.
That's why we don't freestyle here.
Yo, but we should introduce me to your audience because. I don't
Oh,
know if you
yeah.
know me. Yeah.
Beasley Luke?
Yeah.
That's your name?
No.
Wait,
Piker?
Parker?
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
Ooh.
Wow, nice.
No.
We're joined here by the Mockler.
Yeah.
The
Adam
Mockler. Adam Mockler.
We've only interacted a few times, not really on stream, but we did one panel together. But I'm Adam Mockler. So I'm partnered with Midas Touch, one of the fastest growing online media companies. We interviewed Biden a few weeks back, one of his final interviews. I've been to, my boss did, it's whatever. But
That's good, yeah.
I've been to like 30 to 40 different Trump rallies, and each one is more brain rotted than the last.
But don't you understand? Russia is with us. They're with Trump.
Russia is with us?
Russia is with Trump.
Russia's not with the USA. One of their main goals is to
Putin
destabilize.
is with Trump. I guarantee it.
That's not the flex you think it is, though. Putin is a bad faith actor who has imperial ambitions.
Does Trump get along with him? Then? Trump gets along with everybody. North Korea, everybody. Everybody likes Trump.
Yeah, that's something to think about.
These people who are coming here are not assimilating, they're poisoning the blood of the country, voting Donald Trump.
The founding fathers restricted voting rights for vast majorities of people, including women. The women didn't receive the right to vote until the 19th Amendment.
And then we fixed that.
I don't think that was a good thing.
You don't think so?
I don't think it was a good thing. I believe
The 19th Amendment?
yeah, every person, women, men, black, white, whatever, has equal dignity under the law and before God. That doesn't mean they'll have the same roles and should have the same influence in the society.
So who should have influence in our society?
Christian leaders,
White Christian men. Interesting.
white Christian men.
But yeah, I mean, I started doing this when I was 21 years old, and I've been growing my audience pretty quickly. And
That seemed like a long time ago because you're 22 now, aren't you?
yeah, I've learned a lot. I was young and naive when I started at
Mhm.
21, but now I'm 22 years old. I've learned a lot. You get f***ed over on multiple contracts, and you begin to realize, like, dude,
Jesus.
yeah, I mean, I could tell you, right now, what I'm in is great, but I could tell you some stories of my cameraman f***ing me over, stealing footage from me, extorting me for shit. This has all happened in the
Oh
past
my
year.
God.
Dude, and it's like
Your cameraman?
my cameraman that I trusted. We went to a bunch of MAGA rallies together, and this dude, I told him that, like, I'm gonna have to take a break using him as a cameraman, and honestly makes me seem like an idiot too. He privates our Google Drive where we had a bunch of shared MAGA footage,
Damn.
and I should have downloaded it. I should have backed it up. I should have made him sign something where I own all the footage, because I didn't realize that if you own the camera and you shoot off of that camera, the ownership of the footage goes to you. And this dude has no use for my MAGA fucking footage. So then he was like, you either send me 10K or you never see the footage again. And I just
Damn.
blocked him on everything. I
That's
don't.
great. Cake does this. I've got a web dev, and he does this like every 3 months. I don't know if he's got a drug habit or what, but he'll be like, "Hey, by the way, your site went down," and I'll be like, "Well, what's going on?" He's like, "I need 15K to bring it back up." I'm like, "Seriously?" And he's like, "Okay, good luck." And then I'm like, and he changes the password to all my my server logins and I don't know what the site runs on or whatever.
It's like an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. I tried to bring it up last time, and he's like, "Here you go, buddy," and he links me to www.apache.com. I have no idea. I don't know what any of this shit
He's
is.
like,
I'm
put 15K in Trump's
Yeah.
new meme coin, and you get all your
Unbelievable.
stuff back. Yeah.
15K. Oh man, thank you for reminding me. I need to go and buy. Do you think it's listed on Coinbase yet? What is
I
it?
don't know.
$DJT, guys.
Yeah.
buy Trump coins,
No, it's
support
just
America.
Trump, I think.
Oh,
Isn't it? I mean, why are we telling them where to go find it? But
so
it's
that
like,
they can support America.
yeah.
Because the dollar buy-in probably goes to like supporting America or something, right? Like all the
Yeah.
Trump merchandise. Did you know that when you know that none of the Trump shit? Sorry, I'm being switching to real.
No, you're good.
You know that none of the Trump stuff goes to the campaign, right?
What does it go to? Like other PACs or something?
No. That was cute, but no, it just goes to him personally. It's just enriching him personally.
Shit.
Like if you look at the
Trump, no.
yes, yeah, crazy, I know,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
If you look at the fine text on the websites for any of like the Trump Bible, the Trump cards, the Trump gold, the Trump all of that, if you read the fine text, it says all of it. None of it is going to any political campaign or anything. That's just Trump.
You know,
Selling
80%
shit.
of this Trump coin is
Held by insiders?
Owned by insiders, and it vests throughout his presidency. I think over the next 6 to 12 months, it unlocks. So I don't know. That tells me that it won't be like an immediate rug pull. They'll slowly be taking out liquidity, right, and then just enriching themselves. Is that right? Is that the right read? Or they just have really good intentions and they just want to save America.
Maybe that 80% should just stay strong
Yeah.
to keep pumping the coin up for all of those lovely fans that come in, you know?
We're a little bit cooked. But it's okay. You know what cooked means, or is that Zoomer slang I have to explain to you?
Cooked means like the temperature's getting higher, so the tensions are growing.
Exactly.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, later on we should watch some of these MAGA clips so we could just talk about how dumb these people are. But also some of these are like perfect examples of how these people think. I can ask them like, do you trust this institution? No. Mike Pence, no. Bill Barr, no. No. And then I'm like, but you trust Donald Trump? They're like, of course. Like Trump and Mike Lindell are my saviors. And it's insane. Yeah.
I will say it's really hard to find a high quality pillow for the low cost of $14.88. So I thank Mike for that.
Yeah. Just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Coincidence. Sam Hyde vibes. Sam Hyde's favorite pillow.
A little, although Lindell is actually probably crazier. Not like more racist or more Nazi, but just crazier. That guy's just insane.
Yeah, but like Lindell, I've talked to him a few times. I had a whole Lindell debate, and he had like 15 Trump supporters. It was literally like 30 Trump supporters yelling at me, calling me a libtard and shit. And Mike Lindell grabs my shoulder. He's like, this guy works for Dominion Voting. He works for Smartmatic. And the Trump supporters are screaming at me. It's one of my most viral videos. But
Damn.
This dude believes everything he says. He's so caught up in the lie. And I think it's like meth brain or whatever. He's so, you would know about that, right?
What do you mean by that?
But he's so caught up in the fucking lie that he believes all of it. Yeah. I don't know.
Do you really think he believes it?
Mike Lindell, he's a true believer. In every movement, there's true believers. Mike Lindell is a true believer to the fullest. Do you think he doesn't?
I haven't spoke to him. I'm not sure.
Doesn't he spend like millions of his own dollars trying to fight these cases and shit like that?
Yeah, but I don't know if he's spending that money to like curry favor and then or whatever. Like it's hard to say. Like I don't think Tim Pool, for instance, he's not a true believer.
No. Tim Pool is just
He's a liar.
disingenuous.
Yeah, he's a fucking liar. He knowingly lies about basically every single thing he says on his program.
Yeah.
If he disagrees with that, he can sue me. You know that he tried to sue. Oh, his lawsuit against the Kamala campaign. Did you follow that at all?
No. Fill me in.
He sued them because he didn't like that they quoted a tweet of theirs and he said it was not good or whatever. He didn't like it was like misrepresenting him. The whole lawsuit was bullshit. He filed it and then they withdrew it. He just wanted to be able to say that he was suing the campaign and then they withdrew it for no reason.
Really Trumpian tactic.
Yeah. Well, no, because Trump at least like tries to follow through and bully people with lawsuits. Tim Pool is too much of a cowardly actually even go through with it. So
you know what I always find really interesting? Have you ever done research on Roy Cohn, the dude that basically like he's a New York lawyer that trained Trump in the ways of deception? Have you ever heard about that?
Is this the guy that supposedly actually wrote The Art of the Deal or?
I don't know about that.
Okay,
but Roy Cohn, like he just told them like always deflect, deny, sue back, countersue. There's a photo when Trump was getting sued by the DOJ. I think it was in the 70s or 80s. Roy Cohn taught him always hold the press conference to control the narrative. Always countersue. That's how you control the narrative. So you can see this photo from like 40 years ago, Trump's first lawsuit Trump's first press conference after a lawsuit. And then now, after the E. Jean Carroll shit, after the Jack Smith shit, he still holds these press conferences. You can like track it back to Roy Cohn. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know if you care, but it's interesting stuff.
Interesting stuff. You should always countersue, I think. There's no penalty for it. You're already in court anyway.
Yeah, it's not some like unique.
But it might be that but Trump's like offense works really well.
That's what he taught him.
But it's also like the Republican Party was, I think, uniquely primed to fall into that trap of whatever hero idol worship that they're in right now. I think they were probably a little bit primed for it, unfortunately.
But you know they called Obama the deporter in chief, right?
Thanks, Piers.
Piers Morgan quote. I don't know why.
He loves bringing that one up.
Yeah.
It's like his like if he was a WWE fighter, that would be like his signature finisher move.
It's like Tim Pool when he's like, well, Obama killed an American citizen. And he uses that to write off. You know what I'm talking about?
They haven't read a single memo. I hate these guys. Tim should have, honest to God. I wish that Luke needs to just trend up and beat the shit out of these people when they try to bully him on these shows.
He did well on the last appearance.
He did. He's done well on almost everyone I've seen.
Yeah.
And Tim like did that whole like fucking soy rant. You could see the estrogen like oozing out of his eye sockets.
But there are so many young liberals who sit here and say, the corporate press told me that these people are bad, and the machine state government has decreed it by pen. So I don't care what crime they committed. I don't care what the jury said. I don't care who was on the jury. Enrique Tarrio, who was not there, should be in prison for 2 decades. Tell me this now. Why is Enrique Tarrio in prison?
Yeah, so they uncovered with him his plot to overthrow the government.
Enrique Tarrio's?
Yeah, and his organization.
What plot? Who's they?
And he's like, you don't even you liberals don't fucking read anything. You don't know anything about George Floyd. I'm an armor. You don't read anything. And then Luke's like, and then it's funny because Luke just like kind of dispassionately like laid everything out. And then Tim Pool was like, well, let's go check that out. And the retard doesn't know how to do anything besides Wikipedia. So he's on the wiki trying to read the criminal shit.
They uncovered with him his plot to overthrow the government.
Enrique Tarrio's?
Yeah, and his organization.
What plot? Who's they? Give me some
prosecutors.
Give me some f***ing data. Stop squinting at me and saying the prosecutors did a thing. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. Witness. Evidence.
And then he goes to Wikipedia. Yeah. These guys gonna call me a wiki warrior. Read the actual indictment. Just the indictment. You don't have to read anything else. Just read the indictment.
Yeah. You know what? I'll say this. The idea that Enrique Tarrio crafted a memo outlining or they
Tim is discovering this live. Oh no. He's discovering it live. Tim had he hasn't even read the wiki on this. He hasn't even read the wiki. He's like, wait, oh shit. He's like, wait a second. Enrique Tarrio, he was just a guy who wasn't even at the Capitol, right? He must have gotten sentenced and convicted for 2 decades, I think for no reason, right? For 2 decades, for no reason, right? It must have been, right? And he's like, whoa, what?
3 months, featured witness evidence featured Tarrio and co-defense included videos, thousands of messages in encrypted chat groups.
Ooh, did he say thousands of messages? Wait, what was that? Hold on.
Once featured witness evidence featured Tarrio and co-defense included videos, thousands of messages in encrypted chat groups, as well as a public message on Parler. On or before January 6th, Tarrio convened a Ministry of Self-Defense to coordinate Proud Boys leadership on January 6th. The chat showed that Tarrio, stationed in Baltimore.
Oh, as well as public messages. Sorry, there weren't thousands. There were hundreds of them.
Mortel encouraged the Proud Boys as they attacked the Capitol. Let's figure out what that encouragement was.
He's so disingenuous. He's like, there's no sources here. Why are there no sources? Rather than just pulling up the indictment. It's like, what the
The funniest thing was when they tried to move on, Luke was like, wait, hold on. Are you guys going to admit that you were wrong on everything you just said, right? You were completely wrong.
In the bigger picture.
So are you going to at all acknowledge that you just blew up over something that I was absolutely citing fairly?
And it's crazy too, because it's like, it almost feels like a skit where like you have like an interview and then like part of the joke is that like you just throw in another person when the camera switches. Because I swear to God, like midway through that conversation, the camera switches like a 5th conservative. I'm like, who the f is this guy?
That's crazy.
I mean, I
don't think we're allowed to,
who the f is this guy? How many conservatives did they have to roll up for this kid? Holy shit. And it's just crazy that Luke is there and there's like 5 other conservatives and not a single person besides Luke knows a single fact about any of that case. I bet these guys could rattle off like the entire family lineage of every single person that was in Burisma.
Yeah.
But they're like, Electa? I've never heard of that. Enrique Tarrio? I don't even know. Like, you didn't know a single thing? Like, you know everything about the vague, nebulous accusations against Hunter Biden, but you don't know about the seditious conspiracy convictions of these other guys? How is that possible?
Does it bother you that these people won? Like, it has to, it bothers me a lot that like all the dumbest people
these
from high
people
school
cannot win. The only thing that can happen is we will just all lose. So that's what's happening right now. Is we're all losing.
All my friends from high school, they know that I'm into content shit. They know that I have a YouTube channel that's like pretty big, like 750K, and they were just hitting me up after the election, and they were just like, "How do you feel? You fucking libtard, blah blah blah." I'm like, I don't know. You're not supposed to flex on people with like behind the scenes how much I make, but I just didn't want. I didn't know how to. I'm just
Flex
like,
on them. That's what you do.
yeah.
How do I feel? I'm about to save more on my taxes than you made last year. That's how I feel.
Yeah,
You
true.
broke. Just kidding.
No,
We have to be compassionate.
but like, I want to ask. You know how you got a little drunk on election night? You teed
No.
up a little bit. You were definitely.
Oh, I was faking it. But go ahead.
Yeah, faking it all. When you woke up the next morning, was there like an oh shit moment where you rolled over? Like, no, that couldn't have been real. Like that. Like, what was your reaction when you sobered up the next morning?
Honest to God, the biggest. I already said this, that one of the things that conservatives are really good is they're good at making us kind of like accept how reality is. And what we're fighting for is like, if 0 is neutral and 10 is good and -10 is bad, we should always be fighting for 10. But the conservatives have mindfulness into like fighting for -2 while they're fighting for like -8. And we're just in this weird world where we're not even really, like the ground is so uneven. Like in my mind, the only acceptable outcome for that election would have been bare minimum like a Reagan tier, like 49 state, if not 50 state sweep. Everything that Trump has done is just so far beyond the pale that like even if she would have won all 7 swing states, I would still be incredibly disappointed in this country. So
like we knew it was 50-50 going into it, but the thought of a second Trump term was still unfathomable to me. Not like statistically, like I knew that there was a chance, but just the thought of the dude who cooed the Capitol, genuinely going back to the Capitol and swearing an oath to the Constitution and putting his hand on the Bible one more time. It's almost an unfathomable thought.
It's crazy.
Did you have like an oh shit moment the next morning where like this can't be the reality? It was like the worst fucking timeline.
I think I just spent so much time online. I always know that it can be. Yeah, it's always possible.
I remember my oh shit moment, and like I took it well. I didn't really care. I was on stream most of the night and I was just like chilling. But afterwards, there was a moment where I was sitting there. I was like, Elon Musk and RFK Jr., these motherfuckers basically just rolled us. Like they won.
The Elon stuff is so crazy, but I think I'd already like been dealing with that for like the months leading up to it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that, do you remember when it must have only been like half a year ago when Elon was tweeting out the fact that I upset the right and the left the same amount is actually so important, and it shows how objective I am, right? Do you remember him tweeting this out?
8 months before the election, he was saying he's not going to donate to either side.
Yeah. And then he's like, $1 million if you're from a swing state, maybe you enter a raffle, and if you vote for whatever, if you sign up to vote or whatever.
With us, so when he posts this photo, and it's like after the election, it was a photo of the U.S. map, and he said, "Look at all the red voters," and he doesn't understand the population density of cities. He's being disingenuous there, right? Like, there's no way.
Legitimately can't tell. I cannot tell with Elon. Like Trump, I legitimately believe, and I would put money on it that Trump is like
he's dumb. Yeah,
he's below standard intelligence.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Trump is. For Elon, I super can't tell because he just makes so many stupid fumbles. Like this whole video game Path of Exile shit and the stuff with Asmongold is like, this is so cringe.
Yeah.
I can't believe this.
Arguing with a cockroach infested. Have you ever seen that clip where Asmongold's like, I wake up every morning with a rat by my window, and once the sun hits that rat and it starts to smell, that's when I wake up. I don't know if he's being serious or not, but that's literally what
I don't know if he's being serious or not, but
but now the Elon shit is fucked up. It's kind of a trip. And you know, sometimes I think that for as much of an idiot Trump is, he did kind of roll the Democratic Party twice. And honestly, 2020 was kind of an outlier. Like Biden won by what was it, 11,000 votes in Georgia or whatever, and that was mainly due to the pandemic. Yeah, so like for as much of an idiot Trump is, he kind of does out-strategize us.
No, he doesn't.
You don't think so?
He's just a good guy in the right place at the right time, I think. The Republicans as a whole have been working really hard to build the advantages that they enjoy now.
But like so here's a few things. I remember in 2016, Rachel Maddow did this. I got Trump's tax returns. I finally got the tax returns.
And it was like 2 pages of a 1040 from like 2011.
2005. And he actually paid, I think, 40 million on like 170 million. So like it was actually in his favor. And there are now theories that Trump's team released that. So maybe this isn't Trump. Maybe his team knows how to outplay the media. But then that undermines the credibility of the media. And also, when we call him a felon over and over and over, we thought that was like a really good own. He's a fucking felon. That actually plays in favor of him because his whole thing is these institutions are going to start targeting me. The institutions are going to begin to target you. I'm just standing in the way. They're all corrupt. All these corrupt institutions don't want me back in the presidency. So when we say that he's a felon, it's almost like we're marketing for him. And I'm not saying that he's some like 40 chess master.
That's not a 40 chess master.
It's just like
that's like saying that would be like me saying like, guys, after this vacation I take in Cancun, all of my haters are going to call me a murderer and a rapist. And then I go to Cancun and I like murder, rape a bunch of people and I come back and it's like, look at what they're saying. And then you're like, God, Destiny's like a fucking, he's actually like a political mastermind. Like, how is he able to maneuver? It's like, no, that's not being a political mastermind. The real mastery that conservatives have done, and Trump doesn't get credit for this, the real mastery that conservatives have done is conservatives have done a really good job at casting themselves as the villain and like the victor simultaneously at all points. And they're so good at occupying both of these roles. And somehow the the centrist people got like sucked into this. And now you've got these Silicon Valley people that are all worshiping Trump. And then you've got all these like the UFC people and the MMA people and all the athletic people, and then the fucking, like all these different communities somehow all got sucked into the anti-woke communities, and it's just super cringe because now you're in this world where the right will always suck them off, the centrists will always suck them off, and then the left is like so scared of being called Trump derangement syndrome that they won't be critical of him. And so, like the final example, like whenever people say like, look at how bad the mainstream media is, they don't mean the mainstream media. They just mean CNN and MSNBC. You've never in your life heard one of these centrists, one of these like fucking losers on their knees with a cocksuck collar like Joe Rogan. You've never seen one of these guys ever say the mainstream media is just in a horrible state right now. Did you see what happened on Fox News? They don't say this. It's always CNN and MSNBC. So these guys.
So that being said, what approach? I'm going to put you on the spot like you were interviewing the DNC chair people. I didn't get to watch many of those, but I'm assuming you guys talked about this. What approach should the party take over the next few years to make sure we're effective? I feel like we don't have a punch right now.
We need way more slurs.
More slurs?
Absolutely.
Like, are you being like ironic or unironic? Like, if we
half ironic.
You think that if we had a candidate who said,
I think that if Kamala Harris would have called Trump the N-word on stage, I think he would have called her the N-word. I think that would have been her pop-off moment.
Yeah.
He absolutely would have lost his mind.
But like, actually,
and he could get away with it too, so it would be fine. That would have just been perfect.
He was close during that Black Journalist Conference. He was close. Did you read that Washington Post article where after the debate with Biden, Trump was on his plane and he wanted to tweet out, "My new nickname is Retard Joe Biden." Retarded Joe. Did you read that article? And then Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita, his campaign managers and stuff, had to like reel him in basically and be like, "Hey, dude, you just had a huge win." Trump is just like innately drawn towards chaos, it feels like.
And conflict and ego. He's fragile, yeah.
So he wanted to call him Retard Joe Biden. Honestly, I think he still would have won. It
wouldn't have mattered. There's nothing that, because we all view it from, the thing too that's like hard is because we're playing with such different standards, is that like Trump can fail infinitely because to us it's like abhorrent, but to the other side it's literally fucking epic and hilarious every single time. Like if Trump were to accidentally push the wrong button when he was ordering like his daily Diet Coke or whatever, or his daily blowjob from any of the tech giants that now are on their knees for him daily, and he would accidentally like shoot a missile at some like city in Iowa, it would be fucking epic and hilarious.
Yeah.
That would just be it. They would literally all laugh. There's like nothing that Trump can do. Here's like a good question. Do you still go out and do these interviews with people?
Yeah.
This is a good question. If it doesn't get you on any FBI lists, you would ask a conservative, is there any way that Donald Trump could die where you wouldn't think it was a conspiracy? I bet they wouldn't be able to list a single way.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
He had a heart attack. Would you think he really did?
Yeah.
If he got in a car accident, if he got shot, obviously not. That's conspiracy, right? If his plane crashed, no way. That's conspiracy. There's no way that Donald Trump could die where it wouldn't be a conspiracy.
But like unironically, beyond slurs, beyond just hurling slurs at the other side, what do you think the strategy should be? Like if you were an advisor.
I think some of it is, so I feel like all the worlds have merged into one line. You ever watch Steins Gate?
No.
Fucking God, you're such a fucking zoomer.
I am 22. I don't know. This is old man stuff.
Okay, imagine there's like a Skibbity Toilet episode.
No,
okay?
that's okay. I'm imagining it. Yeah.
All the realities have merged, and I think all the advice for being like a good YouTuber, a good president, I think it's all the same. One thing that Trump does really well, okay, is he's like, he feels relatable, and that he doesn't feel like a stiff like. If you listen to Kamala Harris talk, she sounds like Vosh.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like sometimes like everything is like, I want it to be a quote that's going to be written down in a history book. I've seen Kamala do, I wish I remember what, but I've seen her do like interviews where she's like more loose, and she's actually a million times more personable.
But she, like whoever her advisors were, also with Tim Walz, when they brought him in, he was supposed to be this relatable dude, and they kind of just like canned him in a way where he had to continue doing the same few lines over and over. They told him to stop doing the couch thing. It just, you want to know something interesting? I feel like I cut you off, but I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
While I was flying here, I was listening to Ezra Klein's new podcast. I don't listen to him much, but it's like all about attention within the Democratic Party and how the Republicans have found out how to dominate attention the attention of the public.
Yeah, this is what this is what I was gonna going into the having like more personal people. The second thing I was gonna say, like one of the things that helps me so much is streaming. And if you do regular video content, because it keeps you at the forefront of everybody's mind, and you can push through things and you can keep being relevant, and you're always going to be making better career steps because you're getting live feedback for everything that you're doing. So you can see in real time how people feel about everything. And Trump is so good at being on Twitter and all that shit all the time that he's always in people's minds and people are always talking about him. So you need somebody that's going to be, I don't want to say bombastic, but at least somebody that's a little bit more present like that. AOC was for a while.
Yeah. Have you seen the photo of Trump and Obama sitting next to each other? And I think I saw this on your Reddit. There was a line going across and they have the same exact skin tone now because Trump is literally just a brown. But
I have not seen that,
but yeah, okay. Regarding attention, they were saying that like the interesting thing about Elon Musk isn't even his wealth anymore. I mean, of course that's interesting, but it's the amount of attention he controls on a day-to-day basis by owning Twitter.
Yeah.
And that Democrats, we don't have anyone like that. Like AOC, I think, is the closest thing we have to somebody who's incredibly just like charismatic. You listen when she's speaking, but other than that, we've got a lot of old politicians and the right, and like all of Trump's cabinet, which is full of TV personalities. Pete Hegseth, he plucked off of Fox News. I'm pretty sure Dr. Oz has a position. All these people.
He does. Oz is going to be the head of the FDA.
Oh, great. I wouldn't want him anywhere else, to be honest. But like, they're so good at controlling the attention of the public. And we're about to live in like a propaganda society, aren't we? We already do, but like
we already do.
It's about to get bad.
Yeah. It was really bad when Elon Musk was allowed to buy X and then use it to support a single candidate. But
yeah, but we couldn't telegraph that before. Like, we didn't see 2 years ago that he was actually, like you were just saying, like he was tweeting out, oh, I want to make both sides mad. And yes, it was clearly nefarious and clearly not something that should happen, but nobody knew he would go full-throated MAGA, like full-throated.
The issue is because we've allowed conservatives to lie so much and for so long that they can get away with doing anything because they're just going to say that the Democrats did it first.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. They say it with Elon Musk, like, oh, well, you know, the Democrats are already doing this. If anybody does anything horrible, then the response is always like, oh, what? Like if you say like Donald Trump is going to kill half of America, and they'll be like, oh, what? Like Biden already did, like Obama already did, like the Democrats already did. So he's literally free to do anything. They say that when it comes to Kash Patel and all the potential investigations that could happen and everything. They're like, oh well, you know, you guys already did lawfare, and it's like, okay.
Are you saying Obama didn't genocide half of America? Are you trying to whitewash that?
With no trial, Obama genocided innocent American lives.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Tim Pool.
Where's Tim Pool? Yeah.
No.
It was absolutely fucking disgusting. Thank God we have those brave people that still protect American freedoms, like those 3 guys that stopped that horrible burglar, Ahmed Arbery, who was trying to break into that house.
I'm so glad they shot.
Thank
they had
God.
to shoot him in the back. That's how
3.
out of control he was. Yeah.
Did they really shoot him in the back?
I think they did shoot him in the back, right?
After he fought, they were fighting over a shotgun, and then he got Ahmed got shot. But I don't know if they shot him.
Maybe I'm just using lib talking points now. But
you probably are.
Yeah. But
you get libtarded.
Yeah, saw it on Twitter.
Probably.
Average Elon Musk post. But like, yeah, dude, we got to hold them accountable. And you know, I feel like that's just a platitude that we say a lot. Oh, they need to be held accountable. But how do we hold them accountable, Republicans? Other than just like making content. I make a bunch of videos a day, but how do we hold Republicans accountable for their lies or flip-flops?
I'll tell you how do we hold them accountable, but it's gonna be when we're on Kick later. I can't say it on YouTube.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
the realistic non-doomered version is the Democrats have 2 years to get their shit in line right now because we're not governing anything. We don't have any Congress and no executive branch. So the Democrats have 2 years to kind of get their shit in line. Usually incumbent parties lose their midterms, right?
Yeah.
Incumbent lose their midterms, right? Or the party in power usually loses the midterms. So we have an opportunity to do really well in the midterms. Trump has 2 years. Oh, one thing from the media perspective is like there has to be a careful tracking of and accounting of all of the promises that Trump made and absolutely will not keep. Here's another good question for conservatives. They won't have an answer, but ask a conservative, what could Trump do that would be like too far for you or not okay for you? Because the deficit's not going down. The debt's absolutely not going down, right? We are going to continue to deficit spend. Trump wants to extend the tax cuts. He's not going to pair that with any spending cuts.
The prices are going down, right?
Nope, that's not going to happen. Elon lied about finding $2 trillion in spending. Now he cut it down to $1 trillion in spending. It's going to be no trillion in spending because they want to increase the largest line item in our discretionary budget, which is the military. They're talking about huge increases for the military. So all of that was a lie. No wars, I guess that was just a funny meme. That was a lie. I know it's like a joke now, but I really do feel like historically it is absolutely fucking insane that Donald Trump is joking. See, I did it. He's not joking. That Donald Trump is seriously threatening our allies our NATO allies with military action to conquer like fucking Greenland. That's unhinged and unbelievable.
The real blackpilling part was seeing how quickly conservatives fell in line. Like, yes, Matt Walsh was like maybe trolling when he was like, we could bloodlessly take Canada within a week. But then Ben Shapiro unironically went on a show and he was like, we should take the moon too. We were the first to the moon. Why wouldn't we take it? Then he starts like giggling a bit and he's like, we should take Greenland. It's not a joke. They're being dead ass.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Like Trump can do literally anything.
Yeah.
Like he could bomb a small town in Iowa and it'd be like, oh, maybe Superman should have saved them. Isn't that where he's from? Like it would just be a joke. Everything is a fucking joke.
It was a liberal town.
Meanwhile, I've got that picture seared into my mind, the close-up of Biden with the red flag, with the red light behind him. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, clearly. It was in Philadelphia. Clearly fascistic.
And people are like, oh my God, this is the worst. This is the goddamn worst, most fascist fucking speech I've ever seen in my fucking life. Meanwhile, Trump is suing fucking pollsters. Oh, that's another big one. Always remember, I think you just have to keep the cases in mind.
Mhm.
Like also, liberals need to bully way more.
Yeah. That goes back
Dave
to the
Rubin
slurs.
and Tim Pool should be gone from this industry. There is no way that either of them should ever have the audacity to show their face on fucking media after taking $5 million from an enemy of the country to do media. Because there's only two options. One, they either knew it, right? Which Tim Pool and Dave Rubin knew they were taking money from Russia, 100%. Okay, if you think I'm lying, sue me. All right, number one. Or two, they didn't know, and their message just happened to line up so perfectly with Russian propaganda that they were getting paid money without even realizing they had to change their message, which should be equally humiliating and some cause for reflection.
That goes back to the slurs. There should be a slur just for Tim Pool. Like, I don't even know.
We'll think of some.
We'll
For our
think of some
conservatives.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Actually unbelievable that those guys are. I can't even imagine how humiliating it would be. Like if I was getting paid $5 million from Israel or from like Soros and I didn't know. I had no idea. Like it just, I can't believe that they got away with nothing on that. That's just insane to me.
Yeah.
There was they each did like one 10-minute segment where they're like, we're the victim here. Like, can I be the victim for $5 million? Jesus.
Dude, Vladimir Putin is salivating when he sees the current state of America and the discourse. I mean, he's taking a lot of wins. It feels like, I don't mean to be dramatic, but it feels like we're kind of in an invisible war with them and we're losing really badly right now. Like Vladimir Putin is just winning. And the liberals, I mean, us, like we've got to have more of a punch. And I know that you were being kind of ironic about the slur thing, but I actually think that we need to start saying the word retard. Like,
retard is really what it all comes back to, isn't it?
That's why we lost. That and
you remember the there was a stupid like TikTok, rest in peace TikTok of the some woman I think goes up to some white guy with like an axe who's just like chopping the ground and she's like, we need you again, white guys.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
That's some Zoomer shit. I'm not into that. That's some young.
Shut the fuck up.
But
they're zooming so fucking hard.
Nah, but this dude said Biden says MAGA Republicans once, and then he clarifies not all. I know this is a trite talking point, but he's like, not all Republicans.
Not even a majority. Not even a majority. He hedges. Biden does a classic destiny mistake of hedging, not knowing that people are going to clip chimp the shit out. Meanwhile, oh my God. I don't know when this talking point emerged. I started to see it like 6 months ago. Do you ever see this bullshit ass, okay, this bullshit life-size Trump cock replica up their ass bullshit talking point of I switched sides when I heard when I found out the truth about the both sides had good people quote.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know that's bullshit, right? Trump did say that. He said there were good people on both sides of a Nazi march. He was specifically talking about the Nazi march. He was specifically talking about the people that had gone to the Nazi march that were marching with the Nazis. And he said there were good people on both sides of that. This is just true. So I heard this talking point like 6 months ago, and then I went back to the original speech. It's like, okay, well, maybe I did only hear a part of it. And I listened to the whole thing. It's like, okay, yeah, this is clearly what he's saying. I don't know why even some of the liberal fact checkers were saying this is a lie, which is not a lie.
Yeah.
But even more to this, somebody showed me this video yesterday because I came up with PF Young, where fucking Ben Shapiro is on his podcast talking about it. And he's like, I don't know why people are like trying to whitewash this for Trump. Mm-hmm. Trump clearly said at a Nazi march, he was clearly talking about the Nazis that were marching. They're the only people that were Nazis. And Ben Shapiro even like had this set out perfectly.
And you knew the Democrats were going to use Charlottesville to its fullest effect. Of course they were. It was Trump's lowest moment of his presidency. Now, I know there are a lot of people who are trying on the right to engage in what I consider to be revisionist history about what President Trump said about Charlottesville. He did not say there were good Nazis, but what he did say is that there were good people on both sides of the marches in Charlottesville. This was simply not true. The people who were marching in Charlottesville around the statue, it was not a bunch of nice people who showed up to march.
I hate Ben Shapiro. He has so many videos like this where before he was a total Trump dick rider, he was, by the way, he called it an insurrection the next day. He used that term without anybody in the left prompting. He called it an insurrection. God, I hate this guy.
With Richard Spencer, this thing was identified as a Unite the Right rally that was led by alt-right white supremacists. And when President Trump said this, it was a huge mistake. He knew it at the time, he apologized for it, then he moved back in the other direction. I'm going to play you the full clip of President Trump talking about it. People are trying to say he meant there were people on both good people on both sides of the Confederate statue debate. If that's what he had said, I would have not only had no problem with it, I would have agreed with it. But that's not really what he said. What he said is there were good people marching, who was specifically referring to that Friday night. So here's what the president said.
You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name.
So that last comment, people are now taking that out of context on the right and suggesting that Trump was not talking about the protesters who showed up. He was talking about writ large Confederate statues. Okay, that is not accurate. Okay, that is just not what he said at the time.
Like, I disagree with Ben a lot, but like, we need these conservatives back. You can still, I don't think you should vote for Trump at this time, but fuck it, I would even handle it. All right, you can still be a Trump voter because you can't stomach voting for a Democrat or even abstain from voting, fine. But this is gone from the Republican Party. There's a reason this video is unlisted, okay? This is gone from the Republican Party. They cannot hold their own accountable ever. They can't do it. It's a cult.
And so I'm loath to rewrite history in favor of President Trump, specifically because that, again, I want to read you the entire transcript. Okay, here's what he said. This is the entire transcript. I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame objectively on both sides. I have no doubt about it. You don't have any doubt about it. If you reported it accurately, you would say the neo-Nazis started this thing. They showed up in Charlottesville. Excuse me. They didn't put themselves down as neo-Nazis. You had some very bad people in that group. You also had some very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group. Excuse me. I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. And then he moved on to his discussion of generalized statues and the taking down of those statues, an issue about which I largely agree with President Trump. But I'm not going to buy the rewriting of history just for partisan purposes. So that is not what President Trump said when he says find people on both sides. He was not specifically talking about the generalized debate, a proposition with which I agree. He was talking, he referred to the pictures of the violence. He talked specifically about the night that he was talking about. I've yet to identify the nice people who were marching with Richard Spencer that night. Okay, end of story. So that is a fair hit. It is also fair to note that the Democrats have then taken this and blown this up into President Trump.
I'm so curious now. Do you think that we can find something in the past year or two where Ben Shapiro refers to how this is the biggest lie the Democrats have ever said? And then we have his tweet.
Now, I know, there are a lot
a few months ago,
who are trying on the right.
Of course he jumped on board with this. Find people on both sides? Lie. Stand back and stand by? Lie. Bloodbath? Lie. We're the ABC moderators fact-checking, or are their heads too far up Kamala Harris's ass to speak at this point? Every single time. Every time you get him on this. Every time.
He also said January 6th was an insurrection.
He said the worst thing domestically since 9/11.
Yeah.
Inexcusable, unjustifiable, awful on every level, disgusting on every level. Just terrible. Terrible. When you have rioters taking over the U.S. Capitol building, the seat of American democracy, and when you have those rioters saying that they are doing so in the name of the President of the United States, and when you have them doing that to the legislative branch of the government, and when you have those people, they are rioters. They are not protesters, okay? As soon as you commit an act of vandalism or violence, you are no longer in the category of protester. You are now a rioter. And unlike some folks who have justified riots based on the perspective of the rioters, if you're a criminal, you're a criminal, and you should go to jail. You should go to jail. And this was an attempted act of insurrection. I mean, technically speaking, that's what it was, considering that the reason that this happened is because Congress was simply there doing their constitutional duty and tabulating the state-certified electoral count. Okay, that's all they were doing. They do not have the power. Congress does not have the power, as I have been saying all week long. Congress does not, and never did, have the power to simply overturn state electoral college certified results. That is not a legal thing for them to do. Vice President Pence did not have that power. Congress did not have that power. It was not going to happen anyway, even if you thought they had that power, because Democrats control the House of Representatives. So all of that was tomfoolery. It was nonsense. And folks who believed that it wasn't nonsense and decided that they were going to commit an evil act. It is an evil act to invade the seat of government and do violence to people. It turns out we now have over a dozen police officers who are injured. There are 4 people who are dead. 1 person was shot. 3 people died in medical emergencies yesterday. That's as bad an event as I have ever seen in American public life. Frankly, I think that in many ways, it's the worst thing to happen to the United States of America since 9/11. It was cataclysmically awful.
And he said it was an insurrection one day after it happened, but he walked back on that too.
You think it kills him a little bit inside that he's like a lawyer who went to a top tier school and now he's got to run defense for this orange flag? Like, do you think it kills him or is the money too good?
I think the money's too good.
Yeah.
His type of people.
I was right about to say it. Yeah.
His type of people. Conservatives.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
What?
Never mind. But yeah. We're a little bit cooked, but I think we'll be okay. I think the pendulum will swing back, right? I hope.
Well, I mean, like pendulums can only swing so far and then they break, right? So we got to hope that we.
Do you think
Also, I don't want a pendulum swing on this because the woke shit is going to be.
The woke shit's pretty insane.
It's going to be crazier.
Do you think that Biden's foreign policy was a little bit weak?
No, I thought Biden's foreign policy was exemplary.
Really? I feel like I was reading a thread on I can't remember. It was just basically time and time again, Biden and Jake Sullivan, and I don't have this full argument developed, but I did time and time again, they would delay aid to Ukraine and say that it was escalatory. Meanwhile, Putin basically had a monopoly on this escalatory rhetoric, and then they delay aid just to give that aid about 6 months later anyways, once they realized. And I think that Biden had a really steady hand. He was amazing domestically, and his foreign policy was pretty good. But I just sometimes wonder if, I don't know, like Netanyahu, for example, just kind of was fucking with him the entire time. And that's not his fault, but like, man.
So there's a couple things. So I think when it comes to Ukraine, there's this quote about Israel. I wish I could remember it, but it's something like, I wish I could remember. It was like, Israel doesn't have a foreign policy. Israel has a foreign policy constrained by its domestic policy, or something like that. It's like the way that the two relate. I think that one consideration that has to be made is that the Democrats are fighting very much on the back foot on everything foreign policy wise.
Mm-hmm.
And the Republicans and Putin control the narrative on literally fucking everything. Yeah. So for instance, somebody even had to remind me of this in the middle, right after a debate, where people were like, well, why didn't they try to pass like immigration or whatever? Like, why didn't they do anything? So, well, they had a bill they were going to sign. It's
Langford's bill.
Well, why didn't they sign that bill on its own or whatever? Why did they try to pass it with other stuff? And the reason why is because Republicans always demand, like, if you're going to pass this, it was them that tried to tie the Ukraine shit to the immigration stuff. Could Biden have been more aggressive in granting stuff to Ukraine? Maybe. I lean on the side that he could have, but like, I can also see the delicate situation and the constraints that he has while operating there. So like, for instance, in retrospect, right, it seems like Ukraine wants to fight a war. It seems pretty noble that they're fighting the war. But do you remember, I think there was like an interceptor missile that missed and it like landed in Poland. Yeah. There's also the fact that I'm pretty sure, I think the consensus around, I don't think Zelensky knew, but I'm pretty sure it was Ukrainians that blew up the Nord Stream 2. I think most people accept that now. Not like in Tim Pool land, most people accept it, but I think it was some part of the Ukrainian military, that was involved in that. Although I don't know if Zelensky knew about that. I think that's still unclear. So like, I can understand some hesitancy. Now, all that aside, I think I still probably would have been in favor of being a little bit more adventurous, I guess, with supporting Ukraine. But the domestic constraints were fucking unbelievably annoying. For Israel, I think the United States did about all that they could.
Yeah.
I think that like building that pier, I thought was a good idea. Getting, people forget this, but we got like a ceasefire like 1 week, I think, into the war to allow people to move. It was like, because I think Israel was like ready to, not a ceasefire, but like a temporary, like a 1 week thing for people to move. Because I think Israel was ready to like roll in or some shit, or ready to bomb shit. I don't know if it was like a week in or a month in, but like pretty early on, there were like some truces, moving people out of Rafah. People were saying, it was around that like hashtag Rafah on fire bullshit. Yeah. People were saying
all eyes on Rafah, whatever.
Yeah, like if Israel invades Rafah, they're all gonna die because there are like 1 million people down there. And in the course of like days, all of those people moved to the north. And I think some of that was at the behest of the United States, where they were like, you guys better not kill a bunch of people. But nobody talks about that. So some people look now at Biden and think that he failed because now Netanyahu is willing to do like a ceasefire.
Was he fucking with Biden? Like, he was basically waiting until Trump got in office, right?
That might have been a little bit, but like, people forget that like time moves in one direction. Like, they're not going to be at war forever. Eventually they will want to do a ceasefire. And people are saying like, oh, well, he could have done this 6 months ago. Bullshit. Israel's gotten a lot of good shit for them in the 6 months of military conflict.
Yeah.
They've obliterated Hezbollah. They finally killed Nasrallah. They killed all 3 of the top Hamas leaders. They
fucking Assad's regime
I
has
was about to say,
toppled. Yeah, they've continued to like apply a ton of pressure and kill a ton of people in Hamas. Like Israel has gotten more and more and more militarily. So like every day has been like a further step, like entrenching their power. Probably, I haven't seen any polling, but I would imagine increasing support for Netanyahu. So like the idea that like just because they're willing to finally do like a ceasefire now that they would have done one 6 months ago, that's stupid. That's like saying like, oh well, they could have done a ceasefire a year ago. They wouldn't have done a ceasefire.
It's just the timing of it is a little suspect, right? I mean, it seems like I'm not saying Netanyahu was absolutely.
Well, like could it have been like a couple weeks earlier, a month earlier, a month later? I mean, it's
not
possible.
The timing. It's like it's more about Netanyahu did a private meeting with Trump, and they were at Mar-a-Lago, right? And then there were reports that Netanyahu was single-handedly tanking all of the ceasefire deals, or him and his cabinet were tanking, just like him and Ben Gvir, whatever the name is. And I think that just the timing of it does seem like the optics are a win for Trump. Even if Biden was the one that laid the groundwork for this deal, he's the one. His team negotiated for the most part. They let Trump's dude come in. I can't remember his name, but they let
Steve something or
Witkoff,
maybe, yeah.
Steve Witkoff, some shit like that. They let him come in, and after a few days, it's just, yeah. And then now, next MAGA rally I go to, which could be in the next few days or whatever, I feel like they're all gonna be like the peace president. He's the fucking peace president. It's just, it's a little blackmail.
I mean, it's annoying, yeah. But I mean, like, it's annoying. Foreign policy is always annoying. But like, Israel got everything they wanted, I think, out of this. Like, this is an absolute and utter Israeli victory in every single.
Yeah.
Now, I've read that, like, I think Ben Gvir wants to resign and that Israel's mad because they had to make concessions on something. I'm really curious what those concessions even the fuck are, because there's a world, I wouldn't even call this conspiratorial. I think that having Hamas in power still after they retreat helps Israeli on like three huge things. One is it still keeps a separation of the Palestinian powers, because I think that they want the Palestinian Authority is like the governing body that was established for the West Bank. Ideally, that also governs the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
Like having this united would be very good for the Palestinians. It'd be good for progress in the region, but now it won't be probably because Hamas is still going to be in charge of the Gaza Strip. So one, it keeps the Palestinian people divided. Two, Israel still has good reasons to maintain the very strict border control because, well, Hamas. And three, they still get to have the whole embargo and everything as well for the sea stuff. So like Israel comes out of this, I think, like an absolute and total victor. So you've got a lot of these people that I'm trying to build better relationships with online, so I'm not going to call them out by name. You got a lot of people like, oh, well, finally the Palestinian people can stop suffering, and finally, like, I can't believe that Biden didn't negotiate this. It's like, what are you celebrating? This is a total and absolute victory. Now we're back at October 6th, where Israel has every single thing they want, and we're just like waiting for tensions to build and pop off in another terror attack. Except the Palestinians are even more isolated because we're taking even more and more steps for Israel to normalize relations with other countries in the region, and now they're even more isolated because you don't have help from Iran as much or Hezbollah. So, but.
I don't know if you could tell this about me, but my dad is Muslim. My grandpa's from Syria.
Why would I be able to tell your dad is Muslim?
Why wouldn't you, or what?
Why would I be able to?
I don't know.
Did you mean to say that he's Arab?
No. I mean, he's Arab, but yeah, I mean, I'm just white as I guess Arab is the. But,
okay.
Yeah, my grandpa's from Syria. He
Okay.
moved here. My dad's Muslim, so we fought about this a lot on calls and stuff because he was super like free Palestine, blah blah blah. He never like took it too far. He voted for Kamala because he understands it, blah blah. But like, I was always like free Palestine from Hamas. I feel like first and foremost, and it's messy.
It is.
But we should talk about something lighter, like the California wildfires, something that's not as heavy.
Oh, lighter, like how they were set.
I don't even mean it like that, but that's,
Oh.
that's good. That's good stuff. But yeah, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene was tweeting about how the Democrats can control the weather type shit, and that they need to be, I don't know. They're like, if Democrats can control the weather, why can't they cloud seed rain all across California? It's like, is there one Democrat sitting in Congress that is that dumb? It goes back to the double standards.
There was one guy, black senator dude, who I remember watching videos of this guy making fun of, but like not everybody's defended him, who expressed concern about a whole bunch of U.S. troops that were stationed in Guam, and he was saying that the island might capsize. I'm not joking.
Is that an America fat joke? Because
no, he was.
Yeah.
I think he was being serious.
Was this a Democrat?
I think it was.
Either way, though, like, okay.
But the difference, as I point out, is that like I think everybody laughed at that guy. Marjorie Taylor Greene represents like the heart and soul of the current MAGA party.
70% of the sitting Republican congressmen claim that the 2020 election was stolen, even if they don't actually believe that. And the farthest left Democrat who's sitting there is like Cory Bush isn't even in. So it's like Bernie Sanders is probably right now the farthest left, and he's a respectable, classy dude. He's not delving into any crazy conspiracy theories. Yes, we disagree with him on some stuff, but the difference between the two sides, it just feels like the activists on our side give us a really bad look. And also,
yeah, but the annoying thing, and I keep pointing this out, is our activists. I don't know how Republicans do this. Our activists they don't support the party.
yeah.
Republicans will talk about how the election is rigged and it's all rigged and the illegals are voting, and then they show up to vote. Meanwhile, the people on the far left are like, fuck Kamala, fuck Biden. Maybe if they're really nice, they'll be like, I guess if you live in a swing state and you're around a polling place, maybe if it's not too inconvenient, you could drop in and vote, I guess. Like, that's it. And then on the right, they're like, yeah, I just saw 5 million more illegals on buses come in to vote in my polling place. So me and my whole family had to fight through the fucking rain and sleet and hail and fires to go and vote at our polling place. Like, Jesus, what the
Chicago is supposed to be ground zero for mass deportations. And we're opening up a studio in Chicago next month. I was going to talk to you about that. You got to come to our Chicago studio at some point, like Q2 maybe, end of Q1, so we can do a show.
Yeah, you talk.
Yeah.
The fiscal year, when are we starting? January? Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay, Q1. Okay, I'll shoot for end of Q1, yeah.
Yeah, D1 crash out.
Okay.
Is what we're
Do you want to have a D1 crash out?
Yeah, if you keep talking to me like this. No, but like, no, the thing is, I'm just messing. But fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. For
You're gonna be deporting people, yeah.
For our studio, we just got a few FX3s, and I was talking to your.
You mean FX30 Sony cameras?
No, the FX3. It's like an FX6, but there's an FX30 as well.
Oh,
but
you got the cheapo one.
No, it's not that cheap at all. It's really good. You can use it for in studio stuff, and you can also.
I'm sorry, I'm just fucking.
No, I got it.
It's a good camera. Sony makes a good camera.
Yeah, and you can have it as a shoulder mount too. So we might go live stream some of the mass deportations.
Jesus, that's fucking savage.
Well, I mean, like, dude, if Tom Homan is there, I wanna. Square. I'm gonna have a D1 crash. Tom Homan, you know that dude, Tom Homan, whatever.
Yeah, but explain for my audience who doesn't know who he is.
Oh, Tom Homan is the border czar for Donald Trump. He's like Stephen Miller almost, but he's like this big ogre type dude. I'm gonna have a D1 crash out on him, if anybody. And yeah, dude, it's gonna be interesting. There's a chance that it's all just a PR stunt, right? They're sending 200 police officers. No, 200.
What are they gonna do?
200 ICE agents.
Oh my god, I know what they're gonna do. There's probably just like ordinarily like deportations that happen every day.
And then they take videos and blast it on Fox News and make it seem like they're doing mass deportations. And then the dumb fucks will be like, he's the peace president. He did the deportations on day one. What else is he going to do on day one? He's got like, he won't even do the tariffs on Canada, right? That's all just for lever. Or he might do some tariffs on Canada.
Knows? But he did tariff last time. It was incredibly detrimental to some U.S. industries.
He did, yeah. And after the election, I've been looking at a lot of this through a different lens where all this dude wants to do is gain leverage over other people.
Yeah. Do you remember was it Trump that was asked this, or was it another guy where they were like, isn't separating families horrible? And
he's like,
we'll deport the kids too.
Or no, he was like, how will you make sure you're not separating the families or whatever? And like, you're not separating them when you deport them. He's like, oh, we'll deport the kids with the parents. Fuck. But obviously you get this, when you use this rhetoric like that, it's like a preventative measure. So it's like having nukes almost. It stops people from coming over in the first place. And now we're naturally going to see immigration decrease because when you use strong rhetoric like that, and I'm not trying to sane wash this shit, but you get what I'm saying, right?
No, I get it. I just thought of the best business idea. I have great business ideas all the time. Did you ever hear about my idea for having bodyguards for pedophiles?
No.
Oh my God, it was so good. Don't worry about that one though, but a different idea, okay? You should have you seen like the auction shows or whatever where they bid on like lockers and stuff?
Yeah.
You should go to neighborhoods where illegals live and you should offer them a flat sum to buy out their shit because they're going to get deported anyway. They can't take it with them. And then you could store it in lockers and then auction it off to people. And you go have like illegal auctions or whatever.
True. Better yet, my MAGA friends, we can just deport their illegal grandmas to ICE and just take over the place.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you want to watch some of these clips? Yeah, we're going to go shoot some stuff in DC.
Okay, here's what you do, okay? Yeah. 3 Trump supporters, okay? Take them in off the street. Since I say this idea, it's copyrighted to me, so you owe me royalties, okay? 3 Trump supporters, take them off the street, put them in a studio, okay? This is what you do, all right? $1,000 for each person. Put it on the table, okay? Have your band. That's what you guys call it, right? Bands?
Yeah, bands. A few bands.
Yeah, so have a few bands on the table, okay? You play a 1-minute Trump clip, and then each of them has a whiteboard, and after Trump speaks, they have to write down what the he just said.
Yeah.
Like, what was he actually saying? And if all 3 have the same point, then all of them get $1,000.
The child care clip.
Just to see, yes.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, and then the question would be like, so what was Trump's policy? And see if all 3 of them can even get the same.
They would just say, have you ever heard Biden speak? Excuse me? Like, that's what they'd literally just, what about over there?
If all 3 of them had the same answer for that, then they would...
Yeah.
Then they would get the money. Just to show that, because I don't think anybody... I don't know what the
saying half the time because I'll pause and ask my audience like, what the Trump just said? What is he answer here? It'd be really fun to see 3 independent like people or like Republicans, but all of them try to work out like what did Trump just say and then show the answers. I think
there's going to be a lot of that over the next few years. And I was going to open the studio in LA or New York or something. Like do you have bigger plans for this in New York, or we could talk about that later? And
honestly, it depends on what New Yorkers do with their gun laws. Because right now, I feel very oppressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we were gonna move the studio to like LA or New York, but we decided the Midwest hasn't really been tapped into that much. And I know Chicago is not like LA, but Chicago also is surrounded by all these Midwestern states. There's so many personalities that we can pull in. And there's like the Barstool model where they build personalities from the ground up and they try to make, what's the dude's name? Big Cat or whatever the fuck. They just like pulled them off the street. So we're trying to build personalities in Chicago or just like pull MAGA people in. There needs to be more representation of these Midwest Trump supporters. And then we're going to do debates. Like there's going to be, I don't want to give out too many of the ideas that we have, but there's going to be some really cool stuff to be made with our FX3s. After we film the mass deportation.
You could be like Fresh and Fit, but for Democrats.
Yeah.
All the people that you bring in are like Republicans.
Yes, like shit like that. Or like Tim Pool.
And it could be like the worst. You should be like exclusively bring in like the most redneck. Like you've got like 6 guys in fucking overalls or whatever. And you're like, yo, what's up, guys? We're talking to the average Republican here today. And here we go. Like,
and then like ask them their body count and kick them out if they get disrespectful and shit.
Oh my god.
No, but like imagine like the Tim Pool vibe where it's we have like 5 liberals and there's just 1 conservative and we're all just railing on them.
That would be funny too. Yeah.
No, but it's more just
screaming at him.
It's more gonna be respectful. We want to bring people in. Like one of the ideas we have, and I don't want to give too much, is like imagine a MAGA father debates their liberal daughter. I've already done a few videos like this, and we just do a sort of like family therapy type thing. And it's just, you guys haven't spoken about politics in 6 months because it gets too heated. Well, let's try to come to a middle ground.
Oh,
and we do that, and we also get views.
That would be funny, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
I have a really hard time. There was a person I was talking to the other day, and they're like, yeah, I think I had to, what did they say? They voted for Trump for some reason. And I was like, oh, like, isn't this like really bad for these reasons? Like, yeah, I don't know. They're like, I'm worried about, I just get unhinged now. They said something about worrying about like taxes or something because they had like their daughter in the hospital. And I was like, oh, like, that like you voting for that is increasing the chance that your daughter dies. Like there's a good chance that like if they were to repeal the ACA or whatever, like you wouldn't be able to afford their shit. You're just voting for your daughter to die, right? And then I think they didn't talk to me as much about this.
They probably still voted for Trump too.
They did.
Dude,
I was like, how can you be so, you're young.
Yeah.
You don't remember this. I hate that nobody remembers this. Okay. You used to be a slave to your job because if you had a bad medical condition, you could never get health insurance again without paying out the ass. And you were a slave to your job. You had to be stuck there forever because nobody else would insure you. And we just like forgot about that. Not only have we forgotten about that, the Republicans try to take credit for it. Trump's like, I like pre-existing conditions. Okay, motherfucker. Tried to repeal and replace it in 2017. You literally shit all over McCain's grave just because he thumbs you down when it came time for the Senate vote for repealing it. So how the try to take credit for it now?
This dude is shameless as hell.
Which one? All of them, but Trump as well, yes.
He's just uniquely shameless in a way that I think JD Vance you can see it in JD Vance's eyes. He's not about that life. Like you know how Trump at his rallies will always point towards the press and the crowd will start booing? JD Vance tried to do that one time and you could just see in his eyes that he was just like, oh, the press. He's not as shameless. I guess he's getting there. But did you?
They're all. It's all like I don't even know whether the king has no clothes.
Yeah.
Where they all have to pretend he isn't naked. Or right? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. What were we saying? Sorry.
Have you seen his new portrait where he's just like, it's like the mugshot face with crazy lighting?
I just assumed that he had a neurological disease and that's why his fucking eyeball was drooping and shit.
That's the type of shit
cringe
you see in a presidential or like a history book of all the presidents, and you're like, oh, this guy's a dictator. Like you just have to look through all of the shit and like this guy is a little fashy. It's very, very clear.
Because you see the pictures.
Yeah. Just based off pictures.
Or it could also be the convicted felon count, or it could be the attempted coup, or it could be
just the pictures, yeah. Do you know what's annoying though? They gaslit us. You know how many times Republicans were like pissing, shitting, and puking after the election? Like, you shouldn't have called us fascists. The fact that you called us fascists is why you lost the election. And then a month later, they're like, maybe we should take over Greenland. We could probably do it bloodlessly in about a week. It's just so...
Or the fact that they've been calling us like commies and shit for...
Like Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
You remember Rush Limbaugh?
I grew up... The foundation of my mind was planted by Rush Limbaugh and Michael Savage and Billy Cunningham and Glenn Beck and
those were the good old days.
Sean Hannity, all these guys, back when they were real Americans, when this country really knew what it was about.
Yeah.
And now we lost our way. Now we got all these cuck TikTokers and these Adam Mocklers running around with their vertical cam YouTube videos?
Nah, that was filmed on FX3s as well. I mean, the whole video is actually really good, but I just
Oh, do you just like turn the camera on its side and film?
no, we just cut it in post to be short form.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I bet you have the most cancerous looking frame guides on your shots. Do you have all the things so that you can see where it's going to be cut or whatever? Or do you just cut and hope that it works?
I just
you
cut it.
just-
Yeah, I don't do that. I mean, like I just hired my first editor,
Mhm.
and he's a really clever guy. You know, Brain Rot Politics on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
He's got an account. Yeah, he's a really clever editor, and this is old stuff that we.
Is he working for you now?
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for letting me know. Got an employee I need to fire.
Nah,
I'm just kidding.
Nah, I feel like I'm giving away too many of my plans for the
No,
next few
it's good.
months.
It's good.
Yeah.
Because Brain Rot and me are like this. So the
Oh,
next time you lose access to your footage, it's
Bro.
gonna all show up on my channel.
Jesus.
You're gonna be like, give it back, and then all of a sudden, Destiny's channel exclusive, and it's gonna be cut with music to make you sound like a fucking moron. I'm gonna voice over all the Trump guys. You're gonna be like, didn't Trump have a bad economy? And I'm a voiceover for you too. And the other guy's gonna be like, actually, the GDP increased, blah 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 blah, and you're gonna be getting dominated. And then it's gonna be like, wop wop on every fucking clip of yours.
Yeah.
Where do you think the TikTokers are going?
TikTokers?
Yeah.
I think that I mean across multiple platforms. I think YouTube has the most longevity out of most platforms. Could you see that as well? I think that if you look at the age demographics of YouTube, I actually have a slightly older audience. Like all the MSNBC people came over to Midas Touch, and I'm in that sphere right now.
Mhm.
But then there's also Mr. Beast, who pulls like hundreds of millions of views of young people. There's also middle-aged. I just feel like YouTube has the most longevity out of any platform right now.
Sure.
I could see people going to Instagram Shorts, but the algorithm on there isn't as
You know, people don't realize this, but I'm pretty sure Shorts is like dominating the market for short form content.
yeah. Instagram Shorts or YouTube Shorts?
Instagram Reels
I
are
think Reels-
insane.
Reels will turn into that. Do you remember a few months ago when you had to click this toggle on Instagram if you want to see politics or not? Like Zuckerberg changed it before the election. I don't know if it was Zuckerberg himself, but they changed it before the election. You had to click a switch if you wanted to see politics or have politics muted.
Mhm.
As far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure they're going back on that, and now they're going to algorithmically promote political stuff. I don't know that for sure, but the way Zuckerberg's been talking lately, he's like, "Oh, we're embracing politics, no pronouns, no tampons or whatever."
I like those. But you're like, I don't have pronouns.
Yeah.
Good for you, dude. You're so brave.
Have we thought about the transgender immigrants and illegal prisons and the implications on them? Because I feel like that's a
How can you have, this is what I'm curious about. How can you have all of these like life ending situations that didn't get fixed? Like, I want to know. I almost have a 14-year-old son, okay? I need to know if drag queens are trying to like trans him or not. Like, we talked about this, it was a huge deal, and then it just went away. Like, is that happening still?
Yeah, it's too late.
Or yeah, or like, are the books that turned the kids gay, are those still in the libraries? Or did we get rid of all of them? Or like, are they? Did we ban all the trans, the swimmers and everything? Like, these were like the most pressing issues of the day, and I feel like they just went away. I want to know. I'm curious what happened.
I'm always debating. Like, I've debated a few conservatives who are like, there's sex ed books in high schools that show gay sex now. I'm like, what age do you want your kid to be seeing this stuff? I don't know. There's a thing where I feel like I've talked to you about this or someone where you could basically wrap a lot of liberal values in conservative rhetoric. I don't know if you've seen this clip where I'm talking to this Trump supporter and he says, we need to stop funding Ukraine.
Oh, I
we need
saw
to
the
put
Ukraine
America
one, yeah.
first. Yeah, it's an old clip, but it's like what you say is you flip it back to them and you say, well, funding Ukraine is how we put America first. We're protecting the borders of a sovereign nation. It helps our economy because it's blah, blah, blah. It's like our old stockpiled equipment. And by the end of it, this dude's like, oh, maybe we do put America first. And then you know what's really funny? He says in the clip, he's like, Russia invading Ukraine would be like us invading Canada, and that's not right. He says that to me like a year ago, and it was so prescient. Is that the word? It was so. It's just insane that Trump's talking about this shit.
But it's epic to them.
Yeah,
it's epic and hilarious.
Because we react to it. Do we need to be less reactionary over the next few years as liberals? Maybe not you in particular.
Maybe we just need to carry it out. Like, randomly, you know, it would be so fucking funny. Okay, so for people that don't know, and maybe you know, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know anything about politics until I was like 33.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know like how our system actually works. So like the votes that happen in Congress aren't like real, and that like, they're like, okay, let's vote and see what happens, right? You
They
vote
know
yeah, you
beforehand.
know before, because you know how people are going to vote, right? What if on one of these, what if the Democrats just like unanimously join the Republicans on like some unhinged shit?
And then
Like, how funny would that be? They're like, this is the resolution to fucking rape every fucking Canadian. And Pelosi's like, we're guys, let's go. And then like all of a sudden it's like the House with like a 200 vote fuck. It's like, wait, what? And then it gets to the Senate and every Democrat's like, yeah, let's go. And you know, there's enough retarded Republicans like, oh yeah, sure, we're voting on that. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's do the Republican agenda. That would be
Really?
He knows shit.
Tim Pool would be like, I can't believe the Democrats voted for this. Tim Pool would just focus on like the Democrats should not have voted for this shit. It would still be a
Yeah,
loss
even
somehow.
progressives do that. I can't believe that Cinema and Manchin made it. The Democrats did this. It's like, excuse me, motherfucker. It was 50 Republicans and 2 Democrats. How the fuck is it our fault? What the fuck? Like, maybe if you have an actual majority and you're not relying on your 1 or 2 of the most, like, literally certified by physicists as the most purple colored districts you could ever have. It cannot get any more purple than these people. And these are the ones you're holding accountable for the entire party? Like, get us a fucking majority of voters. In the Senate, sorry.
Do you hate Merrick Garland, or are you disappointed, or do you think that he did everything he could and that was the process? Does
anybody know if Pisco's watching? Okay, I'm gonna assume Pisco's not watching. Okay. I hate on Merrick Garland a lot, but honestly, I just do it to trigger the fuck out of Pisco. I think Merrick Garland tried. I think he could have been a bit more aggressive, but I think he tried. I think he could have been a bit more aggressive.
You said something to me during our, not to me, you said it on stage during our Wisconsin panel, or was it Michigan? I don't know, a few months back. And you were like, we might as well have appointed a pit bull as our AG because you could appoint a Chihuahua with a D on its head, is what you said, and they would still see a pit bull. I was like, that's pretty good. I'm going to act like
Did I actually say that?
Yeah.
That was good. There's shit I watch my shit sometimes like, that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to act like I came up with that when I repeat it now. But like, no, for real, why would Biden, I feel like that's a perfect microcosm of how weak our party kind of is. And obviously I'm like a lifelong Democrat, so I'm not saying
You've been voting for it 4 years, low bro. Slow down there, Mr. Lifelong. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
No, but like, obviously, I'm saying this as constructive criticism. Like, we're so weak that Biden appointed a Republican as the attorney general rather than somebody who would just get this shit done because he thought that, I don't know, he wants to uphold the norms that we'd be moving.
Wait, at the risk of sounding super retarded, because I am, Merrick Garland was a Republican? I didn't even know that.
He's a Republican, yeah.
Damn, that was going to be Obama's Supreme Court pick.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm 99% sure he's a Republican. But Biden wanted to do this to show that it was a return to normalcy, return from Trumpism, and we just got over. And I just feel like Biden...
I mean, look at the difference between investigations.
Yeah.
Under Trump's administration, he almost certainly committed obstruction of justice when he fired Comey. He did that because Comey wouldn't kill his investigation. You know that, right? He said, do you know why he said he fired Comey?
No.
Something to do with Hillary's emails. He said that's why he fired Comey. But he legitimately, he said, I hear
I was
somebody
like 9 at the time. So.
Laughing back there. But that is why he said he fired Comey. It was over the Hillary Clinton email stuff. But he fired Comey. He got pissed because Jeff Sessions wouldn't basically kill the investigations because Sessions recused himself. That's why Trump started to talk shit at him every day. Trump did everything that he could to stand between any legitimate progress in that investigation and whatever he was up to. Okay, Trump did everything that he could. All right? That was Donald Trump. In Biden's administration, we got a fucking continuation of. Is it David Weiss? Was that the special prosecutor for Hunter Biden?
I think so.
We had a continuation of an investigation into his own son, which is unconscionable under a Trump administration. You think his family would be investigated? Never. And we even had an instantaneous special counsel appointed to investigate Biden on the documents. Remember that?
Yeah.
I always say Durham, but it wasn't. Durham was the FBI thing. It was
the Durham report was fucking wild.
That was the FBI thing. Who was the special counsel for or the special prosecutor for? Biden?
Her?
Oh, her. Yeah.
Robert Hur.
What the fuck? But here's the thing, and even Pisco, I don't know why he can be even Pisco can't say this. I thought because the steel man, and when I say steel, I mean the strongest composite alloy that has ever been created ever, because that's how strong you have to construct the conservative. The steel man argument for like a lot of this Trump shit going away is like, well, can a sitting president really be prosecuted? I don't know. Okay, then why the is there a special counsel for Joe Biden? Because if he would have found illegal stuff, because these are criminal matters, mishandling classified material, they couldn't have prosecuted him, right? So why did we even have a special counsel for that?
The worst part is, during that Robert Hur report, he says in like 100 different ways that Joe Biden was not guilty due to 100 different reasons. I can't remember the exact wording, but he even says that like when Joe Biden came in and sat down, he was like, I don't expect you to remember everything I'm about to ask you. It spans over the course of the past 15 years. There's no expectations for you to remember all of this. Then Biden slips up on a few things, and Robert Hur is essentially like, it was so clear.
Because a lot of people don't know for the mens rea for most of these criminal statutes, even for mishandling classified material generally, is it has to be like intentional.
Very intentional, yeah.
It has to be intentional. You can't, so like, even for Trump, you would grant the same. Now, it just so happens that we have recordings of Donald Trump saying, this is classified. I should have declassified it, but I didn't. Okay. Now, which is very unfortunate because it's about as clear cut as you can ever get. All right. For the whole, can we read his mind crowd? Okay. But Joe Biden, it doesn't seem like he intentionally mishandled anything because Hur didn't say
Yeah, because then Trump played cat and mouse with the FBI for like a year until they had to raid Mar-a-Lago. And then, of course, he victimized himself even further after that. And then Biden gives up the documents right away.
Yeah.
Right.
And the, what was the, it was either Josiah or Brian, you probably know him as Brian Tyler Cohen, said this. I wish I could remember who told me this. I need to remember this. Where are we at now with faith in our institutions? What did we get for that? Do conservatives look at Biden and go, well, Merrick Garland did appoint the special prosecutor to look into Biden, and he allowed the bullshit investigation into Hunter Biden to continue under his own presidency. So, yeah, we have faith in the FBI and the DOJ, right? Did that happen?
No, it's just like he might as well have appointed a pit bull.
Exactly.
It's going to be the end result.
Yeah. What the
It's pretty disappointing. So you agree that Biden was weak in some respects?
I respect what he tried to do. Okay. I think that Biden was a better man than I would have been in that situation.
Yeah, and hindsight's 2020. It's always really easy to look back and be like, oh, he should have done this with Ukraine. He should have done this with
so we talked a little bit about the foreign policy stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think he did what he could with Israel.
Yeah,
I think with Ukraine, maybe he could have been stronger, sure, but he kept the Afghanistan pullout. I have high respect for that. So we pulled out of Afghanistan. Biden was the one that got us out of the Saudi coalition against Yemen. So we stopped that. So there's only like 2 active conflicts, neither of which the United States fucking started. And I think that our roles in that have been appropriate. Maybe we could have been a little bit more ardent with Ukraine. Donald Trump did nothing for Ukraine, Russia, by the way. He sold some weapons to Ukraine, but he didn't do anything to
called
push.
Zelensky and said, if you don't give me dirt on...
Yeah, and Giuliani. Did you know there's a call with Giuliani?
Like recorded?
Yes.
Oh shit, no.
47-minute call where Giuliani is... He's the one that called before Trump. That's unbelievable. It's okay. But anyway... All of this to say that, and then Biden's domestic policy, I think, was pretty
great.
good. Maybe we could have done something about the border stuff sooner, for sure. I think that's fair.
With the border too. Like if he used a little bit more aggressive rhetoric, I don't know. I've just been rethinking a lot of this.
There will be
I've been trying to.
People will look back, I think, on Obama's presidency is not that good. I think the ACA was really amazing. I think the foreign policy was probably a disaster.
Then they were like gridlocked for the next 6 years after the ACA.
Yeah, I think people will look back not good on Obama's presidency. I think people will look back on Biden as at least the best since Clinton, if not earlier.
Maybe if it feels like it's in between 2 Trump terms, it might just get, I don't know.
It's just imagine the pendulum swing, the effective leadership, Biden, like it sucks that he's older. I wish. Have you ever seen younger clips of Biden speaking?
Oh yeah, dude. Like 65-year-old Biden would have won. He had this quote. I don't mean to cut you off, but he had this quote yesterday or 2 days ago where he was like, I focus too much on policy and not enough on politics. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about attention, what Ezra Klein was saying, that now it's like a game of attention. Not even money doesn't even matter as much. Trump didn't win. This is what he said. Trump did not win the Republican primary because of money. It wasn't because of that. It's because he was drawing attention to himself. So Biden had this quote where he basically admits it. He's like, I focus too much on policy and not on politics. So I think a 65-year-old Biden absolutely would have crushed Donald Trump.
Yeah. He was a good speaker too. Him doing I just remember there was a speech he did in Congress about intervening. Why the fuck can't I remember it? It was in relation to like Yugoslavia and
he's like, we need to bomb the.
He was big. He's like, America's the moral leader of the world. Who is there without?
Was so good.
It was that kind of energy. But obviously,
he was like, he's the worst since Himmler. He's the worst. I remember this exact fucking clip. He was a badass, but
he was.
He's a little old now. Maybe a little bit old.
Definitely a little old. But that being said, with 50 senators and some purple Democrats, he managed to pass an ungodly amount of legislation. He was above the game of the bullshit shit slinging constantly. I think he had every reason in the world to be the most hateful motherfucker ever, but he wasn't. He said he was coming in to fight for the soul of America and to be the president for all Americans, and he was. And even when they try to go after him on shit, I just remember reading the quotes because I was looking up, because sometimes I would get scared when we're doing the debates or whatever, and I go okay, fuck, what's going on with the hurricane response? I need to make sure he's not fumbling this. And every time I tried to look up I can't remember the names. DeSantis, and then the governor of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina.
Kemp, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Brian Kemp. Do you remember Carolinas?
I should.
Disgraceful.
Nah, keep going.
But like all of these guys, when Twitter and everybody else was saying like, "Oh, is Biden saying anything?" I was like, "Oh, he called us like last night. We've already been on the phone with him."
And then they say that Biden didn't call at all. And here's the thing, dude. How can Trump?
Cooper, he was one of them. I think it was North Carolina. Cooper.
Yeah, Roy Cooper.
Yeah.
How can Trump call Governor Gavin Newsom new scum during a natural disaster?
That's disgusting.
Could you imagine if Biden? Just imagine. I hate this hypothetical.
Talked about this to Abbott when Texans are freezing to death,
or DeSantis
during the hurricanes.
He's like, "Oh, DeSanctimonious isn't responding to his citizens." I mean, fuck. Maybe we do need to use more slurs. Maybe Biden should.
It's just the sad thing is like I wish people could see that. Like if Trump was like falling off like a cliff, as old as he is, I think Biden would like break his back, like to reach down and try to like lift him up. I think that Trump would do a Mufasa.
Yeah.
I think if Trump thought that he could throw somebody off a cliff to get an edge on them, I think he would do it.
I don't get the Mufasa reference. No, I am joking. That was a joke. Sorry.
My bad. Do you remember an episode, I think it was a 32 of Skibbity Toilet, where they spin real fast?
I've already made these jokes like 4 times. But,
fuck you.
No, I've seen The Lion King. Sorry. I didn't mean to derail your train of thought.
No, but I think that like, I think it would be unquestionable that if something catastrophic happened in any red state, Biden would basically be like, "What do you need? We'll do whatever." And Trump is so disgusting that like, we need to force California to do this in exchange for wildfire shit. And it's like, fuck, like literally hang your hat on this thing and stop talking, because it's unbelievable. Yeah. It's so disgusting. I just want to say the person I hate the most in all of this,
Tim Pool or Elon,
is fucking Luigi. Because
oh really?
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I'm too edgy. Fuck. It's okay.
You said something, but you didn't fully say it. I saw this clip of you on Twitter where you're like, Luigi should have, I don't even know.
I'm just saying some CEOs.
Or Thomas Matthew Crooks. Fuck that guy. Like, what was this kid thinking? You know Thomas Matthew Crooks, the skinny Trump shooter from Butler? What was this kid thinking? I'm not even saying.
Too edgy.
No, I'm not even saying
I don't want to take you down this road with me. I've already committed to this path.
No,
you got a bright future ahead of you.
No, I was just going to say, like, what? There's some of these clips are pretty edgy, too. But what was this dude thinking when he's like, I'm going to take a gun and I'm going to get on this roof? What drives a 20-year-old to do something like that? I just don't get. He has to have had some sort of.
I don't know. Did we ever find out anything more about him?
I don't know. His parents called in a few hours before saying he was missing. It's just, what prompts somebody to do this? It's just insane.
Probably something going on that's pretty wrong with him.
Do you get demonetized on YouTube if you say edgy shit? Like some of these clips are a little bit edgy, and I don't know.
My live streams are usually never monetized.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so make sure you guys donate to me because it's a rough world out here. Okay, I have to fly coach up to New York now. You can see that we couldn't afford insulation for the walls. We've got bare brick here. We're in an unfinished basement right now. Embarrassingly, I didn't want to say anything. Adam didn't bring it up, but we are in one of I think it's Trump Tower.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty humiliating coming in.
There's one person helping us with the cameras, and it's a homeless dude you plucked off the street. Basically, just we had to guide him through it all.
Yeah, although he's homeless, but he makes $120,000 a year. But as progressives say, that's not enough money to live off of anymore. So $120K a year is basically homeless. But yeah, do we
Yeah, let's watch some of these. I was at this intro. So I went to DC Wednesday.
We're watching clips of you.
Yeah, I just want to, dude. Here's what I need. I need content for my channel because I'm taking the day off traveling and shit. So this is gonna be something my editor.
Are you allowed to watch stuff of me, or will your audience like fucking revolt against you?
I always get comments.
Because anytime I do stuff with like Dean or
oh yeah, I always get comments about you. They're always like, "Hey, do you know Destiny wants to kill all Black Lives Matter protesters?" And I'm just like, I really don't.
Just the ones in swing states.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We could just watch a few of these because I really do need a video to get up while I'm traveling. You get it. So this one, this is Roger Stone's nephew, Alex Stone, and I saw him in a rally. And you know, a lot of this naturally builds off what we were talking about because this dude doesn't trust anybody around him. I don't know. I just want to see what you think about some of these clips.
Oh, I will. I can't see what we were saying, but just real quick, if we are on the wide, for my birthday or for Christmas, I don't know which one, Anna, the Ukrainian lady, made me a DGG guy with a yellow heart. How cute is that?
That is.
You guys see him on the sign?
Where'd you get this sign right here? Like off Etsy or some shit?
No. We had another homeless guy come in and make it.
Okay.
Thank you too. But okay. Anyway.
Yeah, let's watch a few of these.
Yeah, let's go ahead and watch a few of these. Yeah. What do we got?
Roger Stone's nephew.
Yep, you mentioned that. Yep.
Do you trust Mike Pence at all when he says the election wasn't stolen?
I don't trust Mike Pence, period.
Let me ask you, do you trust Bill Barr at all when he says the election wasn't stolen?
No.
Do you trust Mark Meadows at all when he says the election wasn't stolen?
No.
You don't trust the 60 courts that Trump brought evidence to?
No.
So it makes me worry when every single court, every single institution, every single person in America that's not Donald Trump or Mike Lindell are lying to you, when you weigh the credibility of these people, do I believe every single institution, which sure, they're flawed, or do I trust Mike Lindell? Probably the institutions that are upholding our democracy, right?
I would say that the institutions that are upholding our democracy aren't upholding our democracy.
Expand on that.
What we see is a rise of communism all over the United States.
What's the definition of communism in your eyes?
I don't have the definition of communism all over. I have the points, what these things look like. I don't have the definition of it. I don't have all the data off the top of my head. I do have many friends, people like Captain Seth Keshel.
Okay, that's part of a longer video, but this dude doesn't trust anything around him, right?
That's crazy.
And then I ask him it's crazy, right? And then I ask him what communism is, and he has no clue. And this is he's probably been indoctrinated by the Stone family.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, but I mean, I have these conversations all the time, and that's always a train of questioning that I run them down. Like, hey, do you trust this? Do you trust this? And it's a really perfect illustration because at the end, I always end it, do you trust Donald Trump? They're like, oh yeah, of course. It's a really solid way of showing that they don't trust anyone around.
When I was talking to the Adrian Dittman guy, there was a space and another crazy conservative guy popped on, and he wanted to basically, I do one of these. You can get even more precise because I was like, do you trust any of the courts that ruled on any of this, any of the federal courts? And he's like, no. It's like, okay, do you trust like Congress to like make laws? And they're like, obviously no. It's like, okay. So we've gotten 2 out of 3 branches gone. But then you can go into the executive, and you kind of did it with names like, do you trust the FBI or the CIA? No, obviously not. Okay. Do you trust like the Attorney General or the DOJ? Okay, no. Okay. So the only person, like you said, the only person that they trust is one man.
And like Rudy Giuliani.
At the top of one private citizens who are not in the government. Yeah. And it's like, you understand that this is like, definitionally, you cannot be any more authoritarian than that.
Yeah.
Like even like it's actually impossible. Like even Hitler had like helpers, okay, that were part of the government. All right. Even Hitler wasn't his own guy. So like this is unhinged. How can Donald Trump literally be your sole source of truth? Another question I want to hear asked, I think I said this earlier. You should ask some of these people, what would Trump have to do to lose your confidence? Could he do anything?
They would say that everything is everything is to help America in the end. They'd be like, I trust him. I trust this man. I trust his instincts. And I like something that you said the other day. I saw a clip where you were like, I'm going to flip with conservatives over the next 4 years because I'm going to be so skeptical of every single institution. I'm going to be so skeptical of everything that happens in the government, whether it's Elon Musk having his paws on shit. It just feels like we're going to be the slightly conspiratorial ones now, but
hold on.
Reason to be.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's so funny. The faith in the election in 2020 for Dems was like 94%. For Republicans, it was like 27%. And then in the next election for Dems, it went down to like 84%. And for Republicans, it jumped like 70 points to like 90+%. And the funny thing is that there was an attempt to steal the 2020 election, but it was done by the Donald Trump people. Yeah. Like that's just like out in the open. And Democrats still had faith in the 2024 one. But it's funny that like Republicans are right that there was malfeasance in the 2020 election, and it's all documented and it's all shown, but it was by Trump and the Republicans. But they think that he needed to try to steal the election. And that's funny too, because you can walk them through it. Like there's a strange debate tactic that people deploy. It's like not intentional, but it's where, and this will happen in interpersonal relationships, it can happen whatever, any place, where somebody will justify a thing that they're saying they're not doing. So you might ask somebody like, did you shake the baby yesterday? And the husband was like, no, I didn't shake the baby. And it's like, okay, well, what was going on? Why couldn't you be nicer to the baby? And they're like, well, the baby was screaming. There was no other way to make it be quiet. I tried every single thing and there was nothing left that I could do. And I was like, okay, wait, are you justifying shaking the baby? Right? And they do this with Trump. They'll be like, okay, you ask about the J6 stuff, okay, right? Like the march on the Capitol. It's like, well, what's going on here? And like, well, we're here to, protest. You're trying to coup, right? Like, no. It's like, okay, well, what were you there to protest? The election was stolen. The courts were all rigged. And they were going to steal the election from us when Trump was the rightful president. Okay. So we had to show up to do what? So they stole, like you're justifying a coup.
The exact time where Mike Pence is in there certifying it. You're going to show up and people are like, Mike Pence didn't do what needed to be done. It's just
and you're giving a justification for a coup.
But have you considered that Hillary Clinton in 2016 said that Trump was a fake president?
True. And that in 1960, Hawaii's state legislature authorized 2 sets of electors to be sent.
Al Gore? Oh, it's the silver bullet.
If you look through the Al Gore stuff, that will blackpill the fuck out of you.
We should have fought harder. You mean, has the Democratic Party we're a little bit...
Do you know enough of like the date details for January 6th and everything?
Of January 6th, yeah.
Yeah. So like for J6, one of the big deals, like they wanted to fight and get all the lawsuits filed before December 14th because they wanted to be within the safe harbor for the Electoral Count Act.
Yep.
So December 14th was a big date for them, but then they were like, no, wait, fuck December 14th. We have all the way to J6. And then they were like, oh, fuck J6. Let's just push back 10 days. We can fight all the way up to January 20th, right? For Gore, the reason why the Supreme Court issued that ruling so quickly and why Florida's killed their recount is because they were trying to maintain that safe harbor deadline by December 15th.
Yeah.
December. And Gore conceded the election almost immediately. But the Republicans are like, bro, we can fight this until forever. It's just insane, the different standards.
Yeah, let's check out this one. This is one of the Andrew.
Maximize it. Yeah.
I think they should have shot Ashley Babbitt twice.
President, that's fucked up.
If I broke into your house through your window, would you shoot me?
Oh, fuck yeah.
So
I'd shoot you before you got in the window.
So when there are Congress people in Congress and Ashley Babbitt's trying to break through and they think the cops are standing there saying, stop. They absolutely said stop. Ashley Babbitt was a veteran. She should know what self-defense looks like. And when you're breaking through a window and people are pointing guns at you, it's almost implied that, hey, maybe you shouldn't be breaking through the Congress people.
That was the most awesome, patriotic, peaceful. And I was up there 2 weeks earlier for the MAGA Million March when Antifa attacked us, by the way.
Can you explain to me what's patriotic about chanting hang Mike Pence while he's certifying the results of the election?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Let me ask you, what was going on inside the Capitol? What was Mike Pence doing? What was he there to do that then?
Stealing the election.
He was there to
certify.
You ain't gotta walk me through it, Adam.
Answer the question.
He was there to be a vice president and uphold his duties as such.
And uphold his duties as such. What were the Trump supporters doing when they were breaking in and there was a small group?
Trump supporters like that, because
What were you guys trying to do when you guys were trying to break in? You're just saying that you guys were all
I wasn't
there.
trying to break in. I didn't go to the Capitol.
So the people that tried to break in.
You see, these are all tactics,
You're
right?
just genuinely going to sit here and say all of these people were just disillusioned. So we can agree on a few things. Number one, on January 6th, Mike Pence was there to certify the election results. Number two, there was a crowd of Trump supporters at the Capitol. Do you think they were trying to stop that certification?
I can tell. Well, I don't know that we were trying to stop it physically, like with violence. I have
There's no violence there. Come on.
Okay.
Ashley Babbitt breaking through a window.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I also just, I want to nail this talking point. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys
Teach
need
me.
What?
Teach
Yes.
me, Mike.
Okay. The January 6th, that like insurrection, that was successful. They did delay the certification of the vote. Trump just wasn't able to come through on his end, but they did manage to, I think for the first time in U.S. history from the passing of the ECA after it's like 150 years. It's an old act.
Tim Pool would he would grill you if you didn't know this.
Yeah, I know. What was the year of the ECA passed? Then I would just make something up, but he wouldn't know. It's like 1896. Fucking piece of shit. Yeah. But that was the first time that that vote had been delayed by a day. Like it didn't happen until the next day because of the violence.
Like the J6 rabbit hole almost isn't even worth arguing about. And this is something that I thought, you know what I thought? So when your Jubilee episode released, I thought it was really good. I listened to most of it. But I think during the first interaction, and you'd probably agree with this, you kind of got sucked down a rabbit hole of arguing about, how many breach points were there? You know, I'm talking about the slimy guy.
Yeah, you can't argue any of the facts.
And you know this better than anyone, but like what you need to do is say, it's not even about J6. It's not about the dumb fucks that broke into the Capitol. It's about Trump trying to steal the election in 10 different ways before that. Whether it's him and John Eastman, or whether it's him calling Raffensperger, or him declaring victory on election night before the election results were even counted. Like, aren't those the key pieces that lead up to January 6th?
No, you're close though.
Yeah.
The reality is you just can't argue any of it at all. Because especially now that they won the election and the mask was totally off, let's try this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Trump tried to steal the election on J6. I think that was a fake. That wasn't a real coup. And then you say,
wait, you're the liberal in this?
Or
you're the conservative?
I'm the conservative.
You
and then
said
you
that
bring
was-
up the 10 earlier.
Oh, yeah. There's like what about Raffensperger phone call?
What was wrong with that phone call? He called him because he knew that it was rigged. So he was just trying to make sure that he was maintaining the safety of the election. The president can do that.
A president's not supposed to pressure an election official.
He wasn't pressuring them. He was just asking to make sure. And for the court cases, they were just like, they have a right to go to court. And for the electoral sites, Hawaii did it in 1960, and they were only going to accept those if the courts found any malfeasance. And if you push them more and more, eventually they'll just own it all, but they'll be okay with it. That's the problem. Is you think that you're finding some huge hypocrisy, but the thing that exists at the foundation is that they're actually okay with that hypocrisy because the Democrats already tried it first. I realized this a few months ago that it's like, oh shit, they will own everything because they think the Democrats have already done all of it. So it's actually A-okay. So if you say, you know that Donald Trump like literally tried to steal this election, even if you got them all to the end of that, they'll be like, I mean, that's fine. Like Hillary tried to steal the election. Biden stole the election with a laptop story. I mean, like I think that he's fully justified in doing it to keep America safe. Like that's what they'll be at the end of that.
Maybe we are the bad guys and we're just wrong about this all.
Maybe, who knows?
That we're
Maybe,
just the bad
true. Maybe we are the bad guys, and it's not the 12 billionaire fucking cabinet and the guy who has 80% vested in his new Trump coin that he's scamming his fucking followers with today.
They're fighting for the working class. You don't get it. It's all for the working class.
These are things that I do support, though. Where somebody craft me a tweet for that. I will support the fuck out of Trump coin. It's like I like anything that causes like direct harm to his followers or fans. I'm fully in support of. So I think Trump coin is a good thing to push.
Yo, this one's kind of scary. I mean, some of these are pretty good clips. I don't know. I just need a recap of 2024.
Okay, you're good.
You either have to vote for Kamala or Putin. Who do you choose?
Oh, definitely Putin.
Putin.
Really? Why?
Absolutely. He's for his people. He is for his people.
Would you rather vote for VP Harris or Vladimir Putin if you had to? Jeez.
I would actually vote for Putin if I had to, for the simple reason, if you understand Marxism and communism, you can work within it.
Yeah, Putin's values on family and on traditions and, you know, protecting children. It almost sounds like, you know, I'm not a pro-Putin guy.
So you think the country would be better off under a rule like a Kim Jong-un or somebody, or Vladimir Putin?
Hey, I love Russia.
You do? Why?
It's beautiful. The people are wonderful.
I'm not a fan of Putin, but Kamala is for communism and taking our whole entire...
It's going to be a tough one. But what's your definition of communism? I just want to know.
I believe, you know, it starts off great. You know, I see how people can be attracted to it. Like, oh, everybody's even.
And Russia has always been the antithesis of what America stands for. I mean, Russia hates the West. They want to undermine our values. So what does Kamala Harris do that makes her worse than Putin? Genuine question.
Because she's a socialist.
It's almost like a trap. Once they get you trapped, you become one of their drones, and it leads to totalitarianism.
That's a pretty nice video, but isn't that a little bit blackpilling? Just a tiny bit.
You inspired me. I just texted my mom. I'm curious what she would say. I don't think I've ever asked her that directly before. Would you support just a random Q? If you had to choose either Kamala or Putin as a president for the U.S., who would you say would be better?
I hope she responds while we're still on here, because that's
She's absolutely going to say Putin. I'm just curious what her reasoning will be. Probably it'll be that what that lady said, because Putin at least supports
he loves his people. The one that kind of pisses me off though, where it's like he likes to protect his children or whatever the fuck. Like you cannot be. And
what does that even mean? What's that a reference to?
Like the children of Russia. What the fuck? I think that you almost can't even blame these people. There's this really weird phenomenon that I see at Trump rallies. Phenomenon? I don't know. That I see at Trump rallies where like they're the nicest people ever. There's this one dude.
Yeah.
They're the nicest people ever. There's this one dude where I was shaking last February because I was really cold. I didn't properly have gloves because I'm a Zoomer fucking idiot. And I was like shaking while I was interviewing him. And this dude, while he's saying some like vaguely race realist stuff, then gives me his gloves off of his hands. He's like, I'll just go buy some new ones. We're going to go in there in 20 minutes. So this nice ass dude gives me his gloves while he's saying some of the most heinous shit possible. And it almost feels a little bit gaslighty. Like I can't get mad at that. That woman with the face paint is she's probably unhinged, but like some of these are probably nice people in real life. And it's just, how do you reconcile that these nice ass people are sucked up in them? I guess it's like, there's this book about World War II called Ordinary Men, or The Ordinary Men. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's all the people who were literally just living average day-to-day lives, and then they got pulled in, and 1 year later they're shooting Jewish people en masse. And
well, if they were brave enough to do it. Or was that not the point I was supposed to take from that? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I was. That's exactly where I was going, actually.
The issue, I was going to make a post on my subreddit, actually, talking about this. You said you didn't watch my full combo with the PF Young guy, right?
I saw the title, and I think I like clicked it at the airport, but I was flying here.
I don't think that people understand how crazy the incremental steps that you can take in bad media environments can send you down a road to where like coming back is so hard. So like that PF Young guy, like I guarantee you that 8 years ago, he saw the liberal media being unhinged about Trump. He probably saw what were some, like, just some stupid stories or false statements.
The Rachel
Maddow attack shit was stupid.
Yeah.
Making fun of Trump for dumping the fish food or whatever next to the Shinzo Abe or whatever. The Japanese guy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Who got killed?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when Trump is, and then it actually turns out that he was supposed to empty his whole food.
Yeah, like stupid stories like this, where it's like, okay, what are we doing? Why are we like obsessing over everything? So you see some stuff like that. Then you see like Gamergate, and you see like cancel culture, and some of it is cringe. And the thing is that when you see thing after thing after thing, you see like some progressives who are like, these guys are all Nazis, and this guy's a Nazi, and that guy's, and it's like, okay, it's cringe. And then you get like Trump is president, and things at least seem to be going decently, and everybody tells you things are going decently. People are saying things are getting better, things are going well, and life probably is. Like since Obama, this has been like a huge bull run, one of the longest and largest bull runs I think in U.S. market history, maybe the largest bull run in U.S. market history. And you have like all these feelings, and then you come into, to be specific, the PF Young guy, then you come into a debate with me, where I'm going to start to say some things that are going to literally be in contrast to every single thing you've ever heard ever, and I'm just a random streamer guy.
Yeah, it creates cognitive dissonance.
No, it just makes me seem crazy. There's not even dissonance there. It's like, okay, well, that's great, Destiny, that you think this, but like, I've literally had 8 years of so much data. Like, for you to convince me that I like, you would have to be wrong about so much to be able to listen to what I'm saying. So like, I'm sympathetic towards it. Like, I think a lot of the Trump people, I don't think the vast majority of the Trump people are not evil people or horrible or hateful people. And they probably think, but like it's just the environment, the media environment that they consume is just so bad. The evil people are people like
Musk.
Tim Pool, who intentionally took money from Russia and has lied about it and is currently lying about it and continues to lie about it. Anybody who doesn't like that, you can sue me.
Yeah.
I absolutely welcome it. I would love the day to represent myself, litigant, pro se, or whatever. We can do all our paperwork. It would be so much fun.
You'd be a good lawyer, I feel like.
No, because I would say too many slurs.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to make sure on a jury, I'd be like, I need no people of this ethnicity so that I can go ham. But yeah, you get people like, those are the evil people, because they truly have like hijacked these people, and they're like destroying this country in the process.
We are the frog boiling in the pot right now, and we're gonna, over the next few years, we're gonna see how this goes. But seeing a video like that kind of just shows you that would have been unthinkable a decade ago, or during like the John McCain election. I feel like people like that were not saying, or people were not saying shit like that, even during the Mitt Romney era. Again, Vladimir Putin's salivating. I stole this from Nikki Haley. She said to Vivek Ramaswamy one time on the debate stage, she was like, Vladimir Putin salivates when he sees people like you, Vivek. But look who won. Vivek is now a part of the Trump admin, sort of.
Vivek Ramaswamy. The name that every conservative seems like they can pronounce perfectly, despite the fact that none of them can say Kamala correctly. Isn't that kind of weird?
Yeah. I've met him. I followed during the Iowa caucuses. See, I've done a decent amount of like on the ground journalism shit. I don't just do like clickbait YouTube stuff all the time.
Wow, good for you. Okay. Yeah. Impressive. My bad.
No, I'm not saying that's you. My YouTube channel.
Ground journalist. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
My YouTube channel is uniquely clickbaity lately just because I'm trying to. But like, no, we did during the Iowa caucuses. We followed Nikki Haley. We followed Vivek Ramaswamy, and I talked to him a few times. I don't think he believes a word he's saying.
Vivek?
Yeah, Vivek is like the most clear charlatan grifter ever. And there's this really good argument I have with him on camera where he's like, we need to stop funding Ukraine. We need to split up Russia and China. We need to split their interests. And I say, aren't you worried that Russia's tactic has always been to start a war, and then they pause that war when it's like convenient for them, and then they reignite that war down the road? They did this with Georgia 2008, like Crimea. They launched the war, they pause it, they rearm, they relaunch it. So my worry is that if he tries to get some sort of peace deal, that 5 years down the road, Putin's just going to relaunch this invasion, right? And he says what we need to do is rewire the interest of Russia so that they're more interested in the West. And I'm like, what interest are you going to introduce to supersede this, right? Is there any interest you can give to Russia to supersede Vladimir Putin's innate hatred of the West? And he was like, his answer was this, the world's a jungle, man. The world's a jungle, and I think anything's possible. Like, this dude does not know or he doesn't believe what he's saying. He's bullshitting very clearly.
He's a billionaire too, you know that, right?
He's recently,
because he sold some pharmaceutical company. Yeah. Honest to God, at this point, I think the grifters are the ones that have to save us because at least they're not actually fucking crazy, retarded, and evil.
I wonder like what JD Vance's wife thinks. There's pictures where she's like oddly looking a little bit sad. I mean, I think she's a liberal, or deep down. I don't know if this is exactly true, but JD Vance's wife is smart. Usha Vance, is that her name? So is Vivek Ramaswamy.
JD Vance seemed decently smart.
JD Vance is a good example of someone he's smart too. He's smart, but he's right now just gargling Trump balls.
He is. But it was crazy because one of the things that frustrates me is when conservatives know the tactics they use and they like are publicly speaking about them, or sometimes privately leaked they're speaking about them, but like we all have to pretend that it's not the case. Like in that leaked tape where Steve Bannon.
Steve Bannon saying, yeah.
How about the Hunter Biden laptop, right?
I was talking about the one where he's like, we're just going to declare victory on election night. But yeah.
Well, it's in that same thing. If you read the whole thing, one of the things he's saying is like the best thing that happened to us was when, and it's so funny. Bannon is a smart guy. He understands politics, I think, really well. And when he's speaking to the Chinese broadcasters in that leak, like he's talking about how it's like you don't try to make your candidate good anymore. People aren't positive in America. There's going to be way too much partisanship. Like it's why Trump, at least so far, has never been over 50% popularity, despite being like 93% approval or whatever with Republicans, because it's really hard to drive up positively the side. So what you have to do is you have to drive up the negatives. So that's all you have to do is attack. And he talked through that strategy. But one of the things that he said, it's funny, he's analyzing, he's like, the Clintons, like these guys have been in politics for a long time. These guys are rough and tough, like they know what they're doing. The Bidens totally fucked up hardcore in that they couldn't play hardball and they were too soft. And they mentioned, Bannon mentions that like when, I can't believe we did this in retrospect. Sorry,
my ears.
Was that really loud? Oh, I can't believe we did this in retrospect. It must be true because Bannon said it though, that when Trump got COVID, that the Democrats, Biden pulled their ads, like in respect.
To be nice.
And Bannon is like, if the roles would have been reversed, yeah, Trump would have went so hard. But he's like, they should have been hammering him on the COVID thing because Trump was saying COVID was fake.
He would have done
this is one of the biggest divisive points of Trump's presidency because Trump simultaneously had his whole fucking fan base think that COVID was fake. And then when the vaccine came out, he was like, actually, COVID was real and I have a vaccine for it. But they were already all brainwashed by that point. And Bannon talked about how this is one of the worst things that Trump did. And the Bidens didn't play off that at all. They just let him be sick and then they pulled the ads and everything. And then he talks about how the banning of that Hunter Biden laptop story was so good for them because it made everybody think like what was going on and it made it so good. Vance has an interview where he's talking about, do you remember, you might have been young, but Obama had this thing where he said Republicans cling to God and their guns. Do you remember? Vance talks about this when he's speaking and he's like, everybody knew that Obama didn't mean that literally. And Vance was like, Obama's kind of right. Like conservatives are too attached sometimes to like the evangelical leadership or too attached to like guns.
Old Vance writing?
Yes, it was like no, it was an interview that he gave. Okay. I think when he was he was a senator, right? Yeah. Right,
senator
from
Ohio. Before.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it must have been when he was running for senator or something. Yeah, but he's giving his interview. So like, it's irritating because like Republicans know what's happening and they know what everybody means. And they know, but it's all like a horrible game. Same thing with the Biden speech where like he says like MAGA Republicans and he's talking about the election deniers.
Yeah.
Although at this point, that is the majority of the Republican Party. So.
Yeah, it goes back, like, he had this red background behind him. He could have honestly just gone full-throated, like, I'm going to appoint a pit bull, I'm going to do all of this. It would have made no difference whatsoever with Republicans. It's pretty disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bannon said that that Trump was close on the COVID stuff. that they were almost considering putting him on a ventilator. That he was really, really bad for a day.
Why is he so lucky? Why is he the luckiest motherfucker to ever live? I really don't get it.
Some people are just born that way. Yeah. You know what he said? When they looked at his DNA, it wasn't DNA. It was USA. Remember when Trump said that?
Yeah, I think that was a fake quote, though. I don't know.
Was it? Oh, fuck. Trump said...
I hate to fact check you.
Fuck, yeah, fact check me. Somebody said this, and now...
I think I could be wrong. I think that was a fake quote. But the same thing, you know what quote's really fake that, like, my grandma still...
Trump did not tweet Dr. saying his DNA was USA. Fuck.
The same thing where he's like, if I ran for office, I'd be a Republican because they're stupid. Isn't that quote also fake?
That what?
He was like, if I ever run for office in the 80s, he was like, I would run as a Republican because they're so stupid they would vote for me. But that's a fake quote too, right?
That might be a fake quote. I have seen, though, an actual video of Donald Trump where he's talking about how the economy just seems to do better under Democrats.
Yeah.
That's a real quote. He does talk about that, yeah.
Yeah. You know, his one pet issue forever has been tariffs. Like, you can go back to interviews of him in the 80s, and he's like, America's being ripped off. We're being ripped off, and we need to put up more tariffs on these countries. So that's what makes me think he might not actually be posturing. I know that
well, but to be clear, careful. This is one of the reasons why I hate people that moralize every econ issue. Also, that tweet of Donald Trump saying it was DNA not USA, apparently that is just an image. It's not a real tweet. So my day is ruined immeasurably. Donald Trump is a businessman talking about tariffs. Makes sense. Businessmen will like tariffs because it will help their business. Of course, it's a protectionist policy design. So it would make sense that as a private citizen, he would advocate for tariffs. As president, he should be wholly opposed to them unless he's got other interests or he's an idiot. But yeah,
I think it's like leverage. I think Claudia Sheinbaum called him. Justin Trudeau went down to Mar-a-Lago the week that Trump was elected. And I think it just, I don't know.
There are two huge issues with that. One, if he's not actually going to do it, then you can't just say it's just a negotiating tactic. That doesn't make any sense. He must be willing to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But two, that's also just not acceptable. Like, you can't have a guy, like if I go into a business meeting, if I go to talk, you know, with the wonderful work that we have helping us tonight, it's like, we're all going to go to the green room. And then we're in the green room. I'm like, I want to pay all of you guys 10% for the work we did today. And they're like, okay, well, I don't know if I can accept that. And I would like take out a gun and be like, 10%.
You're getting that's how you get leverage, bro.
Like, it'll work a couple times, but what the fuck? Nobody wants to live in that world where the US is like a fucking schizo weird regime that is going to go, hey, like, we're going to start bombing Greenland if you guys don't, you know, like, have a national fucking Trump dick holiday or whatever. Like, that can't be, that just is not okay. It's brinkmanship. It's not good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we can play one more.
The Democrats were the ones that were for slavery. The Democrats were the ones that came up with the Jim Crow stuff.
Even if all of that were true about slavery, which party flies the Confederate flag today?
A lot of the Democrats.
You really think Democrats fly the Confederate flag?
Democrats that, yes.
Overwhelmingly, you'll see a Confederate flag right next to a Trump flag. That's just how it works.
No, I haven't seen that overwhelmingly.
You really? You think, was it
Please turn
Democrats
the
or
camera,
Republicans trying to take down Confederate statues?
Confederate statues?
Which party was trying to take down Confederate statues?
What's the statue got to do with?
You're saying that Democrats are pro-Confederate, but weren't Democrats trying to remove Confederate statues?
Why are they doing that?
Because they're anti-Confederate.
No, they're not.
Why are they trying to remove the statues then?
Because they're trying to change the history of our country.
This guy's about to stroke out, dude. He looks like he's about to cry.
Here, okay?
Yeah.
And you ask
the 3 black people that are here?
If you ask them,
I've killed 3 Trump supporters by making them stroke.
That guy looked like he was about to have a breakdown.
Here's the thing. I don't know if I talked over this, but at the end he was like, "Go ask all the black people here." And I was like, "The 3 black people." Literally, there were 3 black people at that rally. But I wish I could be. I want to bully Trump supporters more. I wish I could be meaner, but I just feel bad sometimes after. Like, I wish I like your.
With you, okay?
I like your approach. Like, I just want to be meaner, but I think my style of being like cordial and affable does help me because I have a baby face as well. But it's also just like, yeah,
you should get like a turtle snakes, like one of those like jackets with the collars and like
turtleneck
something.
Yeah,
tunnel snakes. I was thinking of a Fallout 3 reference. You wouldn't get it.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Have you seen the Fallout show on Amazon?
No, it has a woman character. Wokeified. Don't care.
Yeah,
I watched Critical Drinkers review of it, so I don't need to watch that.
Yeah, that's
dog
good
shit. Yeah.
Fuck. What do you think about the TikTok ban?
What do you think that signal was?
I didn't see it.
What?
Just take a break.
Oh,
yeah,
take a break. Like, is this like do we have to?
Yeah.
Okay.
The homeless man.
This is the signal, by the way.
5.
You got to do that. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
We were before. Yeah. But what do you think about the TikTok ban?
What do I think about the TikTok ban? This is what I would like to stress about the TikTok ban. Fuck. Now Peace goes here, so if I fuck those are gonna be out again. Here's the first thing I would. Okay, this is all I would employ. Okay, when you're looking at legal stuff, you have to think about it from a legal framework. Okay, not from like what like feels good or what makes me happy or what's sad or whatever. This is the challenge with the TikTok stuff. Okay, is you have TikTok as a domestic U.S. company that is entitled to all of the protections and rights and First Amendment everything that a U.S. company corporation is entitled to. However, they have a formal business relationship with ByteDance, which is a foreign company which is beyond any kind of criminal jurisdiction in the United States or investigatory jurisdiction in the United States, right? The issue that we run into with TikTok is that if China is stealing data from ByteDance or just demanding that they turn it over and they're doing really bad stuff with that data, the US has no way to go after ByteDance. We can't do anything. Now, if ByteDance was the one who owned the app, then we would say, okay, well, we're just banning this. You guys are doing bad shit. And you know, ByteDance can eat shit because you're a foreign company. You can't do anything. You don't have any rights in the United States like that. But TikTok is a U.S. company that has all the protections of the First Amendment and everything else. So when TikTok is doing things in the U.S., they get to enjoy all those protections, but then China can theoretically leverage that to do bad stuff with data that makes them beyond criminal accountability. And that one too, I think is really rough and pretty difficult to deal with. So I come down being probably okay with it. I understand the legal justification for it. Now that court when they ruled on that, it was very narrow and very precise to this instance, just because of the specialties of like social media and everything. But like, I get it. It sucks from like a content perspective and everything else, but
For sure. There was this analogy. First of all, the Supreme Court debates are like debate bro to the highest extent. It's pretty good shit. But
Sure.
someone used an analogy, and this might be a simplistic version, but it's like ByteDance or the CCP having their thumb on the scale of TikTok during this specific era is like the Soviet Union controlling CNN during the Cold War, if that makes sense. Probably a simplistic way of looking at it, but I just think that, yeah, as much as I wish that they would have divested or sold, I think that it's probably in the end for the better for our national interests. But
yeah.
before the break, can I just plug something really quickly?
Nope. We'll see. No, go ahead.
Yeah, really quickly. I'm opening up a studio in Chicago in the Midwest, and I need help booking. We're trying to book MAGA father debates liberal daughter, 3 MAGA supporters from Michigan or from any of these Midwest states. So if you have any interest, can you
Do me.
Yeah,
I'm a MAGA son. My mom and dad are MAGA. Or no, yeah.
we want to have you in studio. So if you can email,
I'm never doing that.
yeah, she probably wouldn't. Ask Mockler, AskMockler @gmail.com. Email askmockler@gmail.com. If you live in the Midwest, if you know people who might be willing to do this, booking right now is the biggest hurdle. Like the most amount of friction is coming through booking. So this might be a good opportunity. If you could email askmockler@gmail.com, say, hey, I live in the Midwest and I'd love to be on your show. We'll treat you well in the green room. We don't have homeless people running it. We have actual adults. So yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Where can people find you on YouTube?
Adam Mockler on YouTube. Check me out. I make daily videos, good stuff, Trump rally stuff. It's fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Do you live stream any of your stuff, or is it always pre-recorded?
I pre-record a lot of stuff, but I'll start live streaming more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we look forward to the videos are going to come out from you doing your MAGA stuff tonight or
Yeah.
tomorrow. So
Monday, whatever. Yeah, wherever it is. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It was a pleasure.
do you have tickets to get inside for the inauguration?
No, I don't need to though.
You need to go inside? You don't go inside?
It's kind of depressing, honestly. It's kind of dystopian.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
See you later. Bye.